Hello, Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. It's Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. here in Melbourne, and it's another Anchor Day, part of the series I'm doing on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. I figured that's a nice time to get together. What we're talking about today is how do you use LinkedIn? The fact that you're watching this show means that you're using it because it's on LinkedIn. It also happens to be on YouTube as well for the 3 people that watch it there. But I'm mainly doing the shows on LinkedIn and getting hundreds and hundreds of replays, I'm proud to say. So I reckon there's probably four possible ways to use LinkedIn now, other than obviously looking for work. But that's not what we're talking about today. The main reason that people use LinkedIn is networking. And I've got a poll about this that I'll talk about in a few minutes, and I'll send it to you if you want. So networking is the number one reason people use LinkedIn at the moment, even if, and especially if they're using this to look for work. The second one, which surprises me a little bit, 30% of people now use LinkedIn for personal branding, which partially explains why there's so many selfies on LinkedIn. I'll be talking a lot about this today. About 10% of people say they use it for industry insights, keeping up with the news and what's going on in the world, especially as it relates to business. And about 5%, not many people yet, use LinkedIn for professional development. Bit of an opportunity there, I guess. Now, what I've noticed is that about 10% of people want to watch the replay. So I'm now doing a replay format specially for people. If you do have any questions, please add them to the comments. Here's my friend America calling in from Toronto, Ontario. So we're going to bring him in a minute. I love the idea that we can possibly get to 100 comments on the show. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this file to LinkedIn and YouTube, but I've mainly focused on LinkedIn. And here's the reason why. 1 billion users, and I'd love you to tell me where you are in the world. And whether or not you have a Walmart in your town, because I've got quite a lot of followers from Walmart now, and we're building a bit of a community there. I'll tell you a bit about that later. LinkedIn has an extraordinary amount of people using it, and just look at those numbers: 255 million people in North America alone. We've done quite a lot of research into this format of events, and we've noticed that virtual events are actually the most common and most dominant format for engagement on LinkedIn. Now, this is partially and probably very debatable, and we will talk about this at great length today because we're quite fascinated by this chart, which was commissioned by Remo.co, a virtual event company. So we have to factor that in. I guess they might be slightly biased with their numbers, but that does seem to be quite a compelling argument. Then what we're going to do is we're going to send you to this website because that's where all of my shows are. Now, this is very, very cool. This is very, very good timing, John. And hello from Little Rock. One of my favorite bands of all time are from Little Rock, Arkansas. Evanescence. And I don't know if you know Evanescence, if they are and still indeed from Little Rock, but that's a pretty cool thing. Now, what we're going to do today, not many people have joined the stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play our song, our theme song, which was written by Suno. I didn't do it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, John. I know you're experimenting with Suno as well. I'll send you the link. I'm just going to play this song. That gives me time to, because I can't do two things at once. I'm going to play this song and then I'm going to send the file to a few people and we'll bring them up on stage and we're going to have a really good conversation today. So just tune in, sing along, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Be seen, be heard, be remembered. just go on forever. The live streaming tech is ready. The mic and studio are set. Is the audience here yet? They better be. It's a show they will never forget. Hearts are racing. This is the moment, the one we've been waiting to find. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together. And the replays just go on forever. Is your personal brand fading? The choice is online events. Social authority rising. Engaging vibes. Followers keep moving, your network stands still. We're chasing awareness, we're closing the deal. The engagement is heated, fans call out your name. This is no longer a dream. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together. And the replays just go on forever. Events are the spark, audience the fuel you crave. They said it would never work, now you wanna go live again. You no longer fade, no longer hide. You're born to ignite. You're the energy burning bright. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together. And the replays just go on forever.
Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together. And the replay just go on forever. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. I just love this show. I just love this show, man. You have got me so into this, America. Like we're going to play that song every aren't we? Every time forever. Isn't it just the coolest thing?
I love that that you're doing that. I do the same. I'm so excited to not only play it in its entirety, but now I'm starting to build it into my shows.
Yeah.
So I'm breaking it up and blending it in with my intros, my outros, and it is awesome.
Yeah, look, we started with that very simple premise: be seen, be heard, be remembered, and now I built 26 variations. I'm so excited. I spent like 2 weeks on this, and I've got a record. I'm so excited about this. I've got a version of music, everything from the 40s to the noughties. I thought that was really, really clever. So I've got this jazz piano thing going on with the trumpet solo. I've got this new metal version. I've got this disco version. I've got this 60s psychedelic version. I've got this 50s double bass electric guitar piano version. And everything in between. And for me, because I used to write songs and be a muso, the challenge for me is to try and get these songs to be as similar as I can. And some of them are so similar, I'm not playing them to you because they're just the rip-off. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's a bit scary. But, mate, I'm really interested in this. How do you use LinkedIn? And let's work through that really lovely poll that we've been doing. It's a bit of a thumper, isn't it? Like LinkedIn's really thumping it now. A billion people.
Well, it's almost become how I don't use LinkedIn. LinkedIn has become such a tremendous hub for myself and many others, where it once was considered a digital Dropbox for resumes and applications. And it has evolved. And perhaps from day one, it has been more than that. But the perception was it was heavily weighed on the job seeking community. And it's the furthest thing from the truth.
Oh, it used to be a dead boring site that no one used, but now a billion people use it and they love it. Like they love it. And we are now creating these really funky sing-alongs on this site that used to be used for just dropping your resume. Bloody brilliant.
Yeah, and people are coming here to build personal brands, and personal brand means different things to different people. Some people want to suit up and bring their professional persona and their value and their narrative from a professional lens. Others in different demographics are gaining the awareness and the attention of their particular audience by showing up and building a brand perhaps different than what we've been accustomed to. Yesterday we talked about the bathroom selfies and how that's gaining momentum and traction, and it really resonates with certain demographics and personas who, hey, this resonates with me. And it's probably, as we get older, it's no secret we wouldn't do it, but it works for the younger generation.
Yeah.
And it's in their wheelhouse. They know what their audience want. They know what resonates with their audience, and they're using it. You know what? We may have different opinions of it, but if it works for them, kudos to them.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting because stats I shared yesterday, these are stats that I can, back up. I can't remember the actual form, but I know that I've read them somewhere. 25% of people using LinkedIn regularly are under 25. Right. So if you're under 25, you're going to have a totally different view of the world than if you're over 55, which, I know some people in that category, just saying. So, you're going to have a different opinion. You're going to have a different way of communicating, a totally different way. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, Lynn. How do you use LinkedIn? And we've known each other for quite a while now. And has it changed, or have you been using it in different ways? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I just recently did a live event. I've been thinking about what to do next for another one, a better one, better than the first attempt. But that's how I'm thinking of using it now. I am attending other live events, and I'm enjoying this live thing that is happening here on LinkedIn. And I do think it has definitely changed for sure, but in a good way. I love what LinkedIn is doing.
It's very, very engaging, isn't it? One thing that I don't know if people believe this or if it's a loaded stat, but this stat that live events get much more engagement than other things. This is very important to discuss. We need to discuss the validity of this poll or this study. And we need to pull it apart. If 41% engagement is the number you get on live events on LinkedIn, it's pretty hard to avoid them, because why would, posts are easy. Here I am, I'm having a pizza. I just have a thought. Bang, send, takes about a minute. They last a minute, maybe less, maybe 1 second. And then they're gone, but they're done. And that's your post for the day. And you sort of feel like you've done something. But no one's watching them and no one cares really. And they just disappear into a vortex of billions of tweets every day or posts. But if 41% engagement is the number that we can trust, and we better research this. This is done by Remo.co, a virtual event company. They were highly motivated to get you to think that this is the truth. But Merico, tell me what you think of this stat. This stat is pretty compelling. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
The stat is definitely compelling, and this can be argued both ways. So here's a different way to look at it. You said you want to dig deeper, and I'm just hypothesizing here. But if we were to take a virtual event and take the aggregate number calculated for engagement at the live event itself, and then take the content from that live event and repurpose it, create a carousel, create a document, create video posts, image posts, create a poll, and text. So we're repurposing the actual event. If we were to accumulate the engagement that came from repurposing and added it all together, it could probably back up Remo's argument or Remo's numbers.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from the audience. We have about 10 people listening live. This is pretty cool. I do a lot of polls. And I'm happy to send them to you. About 10% of people say they mainly watch the replay. And about 30% of people say, you know what, I'm just happy to sit in the background and comment. Don't bring me up on stage. Please, please, please don't make me talk. So if you've got some comments, it's pretty safe. Just make some comments about what you've got. If you've got any questions at all about what we're doing here, about LinkedIn events, I also send them to YouTube, and I'll talk about how I do that in a minute. But I think that stat's pretty compelling. What do you think, Lynn? I'm guessing this is a very, very good signal for you to be doing more of these if 41% of people love them.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are pretty good numbers. So definitely. I look forward to doing it. I've got to decide on exactly what type of show. Because, I've been tossing around in my mind, what exactly do I want to do? Because, I love the format you have, Keith. I love how we can all come together when you have a kind of an idea of what you know what you're going to talk about, but then I love how the conversation can build and we talk about other things, and there's, and it's not really, it's sort of spontaneous. It's just having a conversation. And I do like that format. So I'm thinking maybe something along those lines instead of something so structured,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stats and sentiment around the idea that the community builder. This is really important. I want to actually pick up on this. I'm having a bit of trouble with this. The actual comments take a little bit of time to come through. Hello, Robert. Hello from Melbourne, Australia, and I think Richmond, Virginia. Or tell me what town you're in Virginia. Richmond, Virginia. The second favorite band, Foo Fighters, are from Virginia. So that's pretty cool. But this idea of branding versus networking, let me have a bit of a chat about this. So about 50% of people say, you know what, I use LinkedIn for networking. The idea of meeting new people because that's a good idea for my business. They might become clients, they might become advocates, they might become colleagues, they might become someone to chat to about my business, and they might become a collaboration. But it's all part of the fun. And once you understand networking is really the essence of business, it makes sense why networking is the number one result here. But networking revolves around a sort of a community spirit. This is exactly what you were saying, Lynn, that, we are all equal and we all have something to say. And I learn as much from these shows as I could ever teach in my, vast history of being alive. And, I've been doing this over 20 years. So I've learned a few things, but I learn more on this show by listening to others than I can possibly teach others. I find that exhilarating personally. So the networking idea comes from the sense of community. This is amazing. The sense of community, right? The personal branding, this is very important. I want to have this specific discussion. The personal branding discussion comes from a sense of audience. I'm on stage and you're listening to me. It's very different. Networking is we are equal. How you doing? What's your thing? I'll tell you my story. You tell me your story, and let's go and have a coffee. Personal branding is I am talking to you, and I know what I'm talking about, and hopefully that inspires you to buy what I have. Right? It's a very one-directional. It's a very one-directional option. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but so networking is community. Personal branding is audience. Now let's have this discussion. Audience versus community. Am I on the money here, Americo? Is that a bit of a rant?
No, it's a great topic for us to pause and have the discussion. Community, you're surrounding yourself with those who are of like mind and there to help what you're building. So for those of us who are building our brands as we go, yesterday we talked about building a brand here live. Community is important because you can lean and leverage your community for advice, for support, and not necessarily just for a pipeline of customers. They're there to teach you, to mentor you, to support you, and to guide you and keep you in your lane. And I think that is important. And a network might just be, if we were to compare, without going into the textbooks and just sharing my thought, a network is just a number. It's part of that vanity that we sometimes hear people talk about. Hey, we can chase a following, we can grow our networks, but if we're really not leaning in and leveraging the capabilities that our network has, then we're missing out on that community piece.
I love it. I love it. This is another Melburnian. Don't get many Melburnians on my call because my shows are during the day and we're working. But Sue says, I put out a video once a week with quick insight and I get a lot more traction. But I naturally respond to those comments that I get. Now, Sue, if you want to speak, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're good mates now, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. 31,000 followers. She's really rocking it. So she really does know what she's talking about. And she's been on the TV. That really tells you everything. She's been on the TV. So she's just going up a notch. And, she's more famous than me. So I'll bring her in if you want to talk, just saying. We've got quite a lot of people listening in. So this is actually a good idea. I'm really quite fascinated. Quite a few people there, quite a few comments. Hello, Sherilyn. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. What we're talking about fundamentally is community versus audience. Let's have that discussion. I'm just trying to manage the comments. Well, I did a poll recently to ask the question, do you want to come on stage or do you want to comment? And most people say, oh, okay, don't bring me up on stage. I'm happy to comment in the background, but please don't ask me to talk. And I get it. So what I'm letting you know is I will be managing the comments, but there's only one of me. So I sometimes miss them, and there's a bit of a lag between when you comment and I get it. I apologize for that. It's about a minute. I worked it out. So I can't always bring the comments up straight away. But let's have the discussion. LinkedIn for audience or for community. What do you think, Lynn? This idea of community building or audience building, which do you prefer, or you're doing a bit of both?
Well, the community is, to me, the most important here on this platform. And I mean, I feel like I have the best. I mean, don't you? I mean, we've got a pretty good community. It is the people that are in the community that we have are. I mean, I really I consider them friends, and I think those are the types of relationships you want to build on. I mean, it's fine to grow your network, but do it. I think in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I used to play in a band, right? And I can tell you that I didn't want to get down and grubby and talk to the people watching. I just wanted them to sing my songs and buy my CDs. Right? That's what because I was 18 and I wanted to be famous. And my level of fame was how many people were buying my CDs. Right? Not many, I could tell you for sure, because I'm not doing it now, right? So I'd be up on stage singing songs with a band, and my goal was to get lots of people in the audience singing my songs, and then going down in the back and buying the T-shirts and the CDs, and maybe a line to get those signed. That never happened, but that's an audience building strategy, because I used to play in a band, right? So I was on stage, and there was an audience watching us singing our songs. That's what audience building feels like to me. That's what personal branding feels like to me. I'm on stage and you're singing my songs. And if you're really good, you'll buy my CD and my T-shirt. And if you're really lucky, I'll sign them. That's what audience building feels like to me. Community building is, mate, we are equal. I don't know any more than you. You might even teach me something today. I'm open. Let's have a coffee and chat about that. I love that level playing field idea. Maybe that comes with maturity. Maybe it comes with a sense of being content in my power, or my presence here. I'm very interested in this. What do you think, America? I'm playing the musical reference a bit today because I've been in a band and I know what it's like to have an ego and be on stage and to write songs and have people singing them. And it's just such a buzz.
Let's bring Sue's comment up on the screen, the one that starts with when LinkedIn events first came out, because she touches on something that we can kind of pick up on that ties to what you're sharing with the audience today.
This is interesting. The link between the comments live and them actually coming on Restream is about a minute delay. So let me just see if I wait. I got it there, but it's not coming up for me. When LinkedIn events first came out, they were extremely effective at reaching people, but over time, I think a lot of people have fallen into the doom scrolling and quick dopamine fixes. Oh man, that's so good. Mate, you talk about this all the time. Pick up on this. Let's pick up on this.
Yeah, so we know, because recent studies, let me rephrase myself, a recent prompt into GPT shared that the average attention span from that scrolling that we refer to as doom scrolling, 1.7 seconds. So Sue is onto something in the sense that, hey, we have shorter attention spans than ever before. But there's also resources that share the average consumption of content from these virtual events. And with YouTube, the average is around 5 minutes. With LinkedIn, the average is 8 to 10 in that wheelhouse.
Yes, yeah.
But when you're comparing, hey, if we have a 2-hour show, which LinkedIn recommends not exceeding 2 hours for optimal engagement, but we've done 3-hour shows. I do typically a 1-hour show, and I'm getting in that 8 to 10 minute average watch time. But what I'm seeing time and time again is the number of times people come back. So it's around 3 to 1.
It's very, very cool. Like, I mean, and I'm going to bring Sue in a minute on this. The shows go a long time. That's my style. It's like community radio in a way. I start at 10, I finish at 2. Turn up when you can. Come back if you want to drop the kids off or have some lunch or go for a jog. I'll still be here. Right? Just come when you can. Make comments if you want. and they're long shows. They're typically 3 or 4 hours, and I like doing that format. But the first 10 minutes is where a lot of the action happens, and then you just come in and go when you can, and then they go for as long as they are. And I wouldn't think many people would be watching the whole thing, but they are an engaging format. They're fun to do. You get to hear my voice. You know that I'm real. I'm being myself. And I learn things, and we get to share things. I'd be interested in your thoughts, Sue. I know you do a lot of work on LinkedIn. Are you recommending LinkedIn audio events now, or LinkedIn events? What's your strategy for getting the word out for what you do? Let's see if we can get a signal from Sue. How you doing? That's all right. Let's play this game. Sue, I think we should have a signal from you now. Everything looks to be working. Have you got your mic on?
I have. Can you hear me now?
There it is. Bingo! We've got a winner.
Exciting. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you can see, if you look on my LinkedIn profile and click about this profile, you'll see I joined LinkedIn in December 2003. So I'm member number 77832. I've been here a long, long time. And in October 2021, I started running free monthly webinars, and I run them on Zoom so that I can record them and put them on YouTube and so on and so forth. And the numbers for the first one were amazing. Over 600 people registered and nearly 100 people showed up live. But running them monthly, I did it until December last year, when the numbers just decreased so significantly, it wasn't worth me doing. Now, I do still have all those digital assets out there on the interwebs, but I decided that a better way to reach people and share my knowledge so that they could actually acquire some skills and put them into practice was doing the short form portrait video. And it's been really interesting, because I think you've probably all identified now that when we post on LinkedIn, we have a group of super fans that will semi-regularly engage with our content, and I've found that those people are engaging more with my videos, but I'm getting between 3 and 4 calls a week now for people looking for assistance, where I never got that when I was running the hour-long webinars. So I think we just have to keep adapting and changing over time, and LinkedIn is absolutely my favorite platform. And obviously I specialize in LinkedIn. I've written 2 books on it. I've been consulting on it since 2008. But yeah, it's very, very powerful tool.
Yeah. And do you work internationally, or are you mainly focusing on Australian clients?
I focus on Australia simply because I do have international clients, but there's issues with tax, there's exchange rates, there's time delays, there's just slight cultural nuances that make it somewhat more difficult. But, I never knock them back. But yeah, most of my clients are in Australia.
And who's your ideal client? Let's go for some. You don't probably need our help, but who's your ideal client? Who do you work with mostly?
Usually people who want help, done with the person, not done for the person, but done with the person.
Yeah.
And they're really semi-clear on what they would like to achieve. And then I show them how to do that using, whatever is necessary, and skipping the bits that don't really count.
Yeah, that's great. Americo and Lynn, do you have any questions for an Australian LinkedIn person? Because Lynn is from Bama, Alabama, and Americo is from Toronto. So we have the whole world here: America, US, Australia. What else is there? New Zealand, maybe. So the whole world is represented. I'm so sorry, that was just such a stupid comment. But please tell me where you're calling in from, because we have callers all over the world. Yesterday we had people calling in from Iran, Jamaica, New Zealand, Taiwan. Just unbelievable, because I'm a global dude. But America, have you got any thoughts on this? I'm pretty sure LinkedIn works across the board. So what are your questions for Lynn? For Sue, while we got her?
Well, it's fascinating that Sue, you shared how video you weren't getting calls, and what that says to me, or suggests, is that LinkedIn works differently for different people, provided that we're showing up wherever our audience is. Because what has happened to me is actually quite the opposite of what you've discovered. I used to hit the keyboard, and I use this reference. I used to be a keyboard warrior, and my written content wasn't resonating as I had thought it could. And what I ended up doing was stepping away from the keyboard and leaning into my Audible presence and my video presence. And I started to conduct shows of my own. And that's when my calendar started to experience bookings. So it's fascinating. We might be catching our clients at a different stage in their journey, but I think it's important for anyone to recognize that there's value if you catch it at the right time, if you're showing up at the right places and you're bringing value in the format in which you're showing up. Everyone questions my shows. Wow, you can talk for an hour. It's like, listen, I can talk for 2 or 3 hours if you let me. And
my highest score is 6 hours. You know that, Americo? 6 hours.
Yes, you shared that with us. So my biggest obstacle was, coming to the realization that people aren't going to stick around for the full 1 hour. And I'm fine with that, provided that I'm delivering value and I continue to see them coming back in the replay. So when I compare my unique views to my total views, I know that the message is resonating and people are coming back either to pick up what they heard, to reinforce what they heard, or to continue hearing and pick up where they left off. So it is fascinating that this can be discussed. I'm not going to say argued. It's discussed on both sides, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us. I notice we're not connected, and I enjoy my Aussie community, and a lot of learning and a lot of introductions to my Canadian cohorts are now coming from my Aussie community. So if you got room, stay tuned. I will reach out and connect.
Well, that is a very good point. Sue has 31,000 followers. You don't have to tell me exactly, but I'm guessing you must be getting pretty close to the 30K maximum. How do you manage that?
Yes, I am getting close to that. And I have, I think it's about 28,000 something or another. So yeah, I am a little bit conscious of that. But one of the things that I've been very keen to do is ever since I finished my bachelor's degree by correspondence in the year 2000, I've been going to between 1 and 4 live events, in-person events per week ever since. So I'm always out and about meeting people, pressing the flesh, as they say. And then everyone I meet, I invite them to connect with me on LinkedIn. And when I go to a networking event of any description, I try and connect with at least 3 people at that event. So it gives me a little way to demonstrate the LinkedIn QR scan code feature. So people love it when they learn that and they don't have to carry a business card. And my basic philosophy is to connect with people and then maintain that relationship by showing up on an ongoing basis on social media. So Monday, I send out a post related to something, and then Thursday, I send out the video link, and then I do a monthly newsletter that goes out. So everybody who accepts a connection request or follows my company page gets invited to subscribe to the LinkedIn newsletter. So I have over 9,000 subscribers to that. And what I love about the LinkedIn newsletter is it doesn't send them an email in their inbox, because I don't want any more emails. It just sends them a little notification which reminds people that I exist. So my goal is to just be found when people need me. So I appear in AI results, I appear in Google results or online search results, and I appear in LinkedIn search results. And so my goal is to make sure I'm just found when people need me, and the rest of the time, they can go back to doing whatever they were doing.
It's a very different strategy. I was thinking today about this, Sue. I don't think there'd be very many examples of something that would entice me to go to an in-person event again. I haven't really done one since COVID, and I don't miss them. But tell me why you love them. Tell me why you love them.
Well, I live on my own and I work on my own, and my family are all interstate. And I call the people I meet and see on a regular basis my business friends. And I really enjoy catching up with them and sharing their journey. And an amazing person I met at a networking event recently was a grief counsellor. And I just liked what she said. And I write poetry as well. So I asked her if I could interview her and talk about grief. And we decided we would talk about ambiguous loss or living loss. So when somebody is not the same as they used to be, they're still in our lives, but they're not the same person anymore. There's a grief associated with that. Now, I have similar experiences to that, but not the same ones. So I interviewed her for 2 hours, and I still couldn't really get the gist of it, and I need to reflect on what she shared with me more. But I did understand the concept of accumulated grief, which was something else we talked about in our 2 hours together. Now, I've put out a poem on that. I've shared it. It's got enormous engagement because so many people can relate to this concept of accumulated grief. And then she shared it in her network. And now what that's led to is she wants to catch up again in person. So I've made a friend out of it. And I mean, maybe everybody's got enough friends in their life, but I think we constantly need to add people into our lives, and they bring different things. So I love seeing people in person as well. Mind you, I am an introvert, so it's not something that, I feel I don't want to be at a wild party for 3 hours, but I do like connecting one-on-one with people.
And you don't find the same thing with online networking? You don't get the same zing, the same buzz?
No, I don't. But I do appreciate the people who engage with my content on a regular basis. And if anybody supports me, I'll then click the notification bell and I'll try and support their posts as often as I can as well.
Yeah, we're all different. I look, I've got to be honest. I don't think there's anything. I don't think. Challenge me on this. I don't know, but I don't think there's anything that's going to get me to go into the city for a networking event. I've done that. I just don't like them. I just don't like them.
I think you need to be a little bit selective about the types of events that you go to, and they have to fulfill certain criterias. So for me, it's either recatching up with people who I'm likely to know, or it's a topic that I really, really love. But mind you, I've gone to some clangers. I mean, I went to one on the weekend, which was supposedly about audio and its impact and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a conversation about a few artists' work. It was so boring. And I just thought, my goodness, I missed the mark on this one. So, yeah, look, I've wasted my time on some of them, but others have just been so amazing. I just very, very grateful that I went.
Yeah, I love it. Now, while we've got Sue Lynn, do you want to? This is very, very important. Sue, you might have a good friend here.
Yeah.
Lynn is a travel agent who lives in Alabama and is using the internet to promote what she does as a travel agent. And everyone loves holidays. So, Lynn, have you got any comments or questions for Sue, who's a LinkedIn expert, about how you could be using LinkedIn further to what we've already been discussing on the various shows we're doing?
Well, yeah, I'm curious to know, Sue, what kind of, when you were doing live events, did you have people come on to and discuss various topics, or what type of events did you do live?
Yeah, great question. So they were all about the topic of LinkedIn and different ways to use it. So if you go to my sueelson.com website and you look under presentations, scroll down until you see webinars and recordings, and they're all there. You can watch them anytime you like, no login, no fee. Includes the slides as well. So you can see the range of events that are there. Now, interestingly, one of them was ways to use LinkedIn if you're in real estate. And I search for myself online on a regular basis. So I use a Google advanced search, and I scour the internet every few days to see where my name has appeared on the interwebs. And the other day, that video was put in an article about LinkedIn and real estate. So, the content does get repurposed, which is kind of exciting. But does it lead to business? I mean, I guess you have to think about what is your mission and your purpose for being online. And I write to be read. I publish so that people can get some sort of benefit from it. So whether it be comfort from my poems or education from my LinkedIn stuff, I've always been about publishing information that would be useful. Making sales is probably second priority for me, even though it probably should be a higher priority. But in terms of a travel business, I would suggest that you need to think about who are the ideal clients that would be interested in purchasing travel services through you. And one of the things that I recommended for a client, this is not the same, but I'll give you an example. This was a man who ran an IT technology business, and he basically provided IT support for an enterprise. And he found that accountants had a lot of technology requirements in their little business and their practice, and they'd have 10 or more staff, and they needed somebody to provide that IT support. So he was based in a location called St Kilda Road in Melbourne. And so what we did is we did a Google advanced search to look for people whose LinkedIn profiles had the word accountant and St Kilda. And then he was able to find those exact people and then connect with them and then offer his IT technology services all within a close location to his business. And I never saw him again because clearly it worked. And so there's many different ways to use LinkedIn. I would never rely specifically just on the news feed, although I have been in contact with the LinkedIn news editors, and what they want to see is conversations created, because LinkedIn is just another social media platform. I call them all megalomaniacs that want more people more often for longer, and for people to be able to search the content they're looking for in platform. Yeah.
Oh, that is great advice. Thank you for that, Sue.
You're most welcome.
It's very, very interesting. You mentioned St Kilda Road that's a very specific reference. That's a main street, one of the main thoroughfares in Melbourne, the big one, and it goes for kilometres and kilometres. And the fact that we can drill down to that level of detail on LinkedIn is pretty cool, because America and I this is actually really quite relevant, Sue, because Americo's in the stage of launching a sort of a road trip vibe. He's in Toronto, but he's happy to travel around. And I'm not. But I do these shows twice a week, and I know where my audience is. And they're in Atlanta and Toronto and New York and Mexico City and Argentina. But with LinkedIn, I can send the link to my show to people in Buenos Aires, and they come, right? Yeah. So by being so specific about your target market, you can really do magic. Do you want to pick up on this, Americo? How would you use that search feature in Ontario, Toronto mainly, but Ontario, maybe even Quebec and possibly New York? How would you use this to find those ideal clients that may indeed be a great match for you? And this could, Americo has a show like this, Sue, and he's always looking for guests. So if you want to, and you're up for it, and you're willing to work with Canadian people, he would be a very good connection for you, because he has these regular shows that get hundreds of listens, and he would introduce you to the Canadian audience. But Americo, what do you think? How would you use this very specific targeting tool to target people in Montreal or Quebec or Kingston, Ontario?
So the search capability that is embedded in LinkedIn, who they themselves sometime back took the time to publicly say, we're no longer a platform, but we're a search engine.
Wow.
And that is powerful, because to Sue's point, you can drill down by geography, by title, and you can get it so finite and pinpointed. If you know who your ideal client is, you can pretty much pinpoint where they are and get effective results. And that is powerful, and a tool that some people just simply don't leverage. And it's available to some degree for those who are not using Sales Navigator. You can still do it on the free version. There's still good filtering and good search capabilities that can be leveraged. And I can't stress enough how powerful that is. So to answer your question, I can definitely. So for instance, yesterday we were talking about how I'm open to taking my show on the road. I can now map out my drive to Florida and know where I'm planning on making a pit stop, and having my community follow along. And I can send out invitations to my community members throughout my road trip. Hey, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm driving through I-95 or whichever interstate. I'm going to be stopping at this restaurant. If you're available, you're around, let's meet, let's jump on a call. And, if you know Keith, we can get ourselves our Keithy and make some history.
I love this. I just love this. Because as I've mentioned many times, I'm an internet guy, right? I'm very comfortable in my house in Edithvale, which is an hour from the city. And don't ask me to go to the city because I just will not. But you're doing a road trip, and I'm going to follow along. And I want to tell you two stories that happened here. One, a long time ago, I bought the URL California. I thought that was pretty clever. California, Keith California .org, and I was planning an American road trip. This is a long time ago, well before COVID. When I used to be a bit of a dude, I was planning an American tour, and I was going to go to California. Right, so I bought the URL california.com and .org. And I was going to drive from San Diego to San Francisco, and I was going to do several gigs along the way. Right, it didn't happen, but I not everything works out. But I thought that would have been such a cool thing to start in San Diego, maybe Palm Springs, and then just work my way right up the top and meet people along the way, do gigs on the way. Right now, this is what you're planning, and I cannot wait to see this come to fruition, because it will. Like we mention it more and more, and every time we meet, you've got another piece of the pie there. So imagine if you do get to Pennsylvania and you're hanging out at the Pittsburgh Steelers Wonder Dome, and you go, because they won the Super Bowl a long time ago, but they did win, and so there it is. You're at the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium. And here you are on the way down to Florida to see the Dolphins play, and you're telling the story as you go. People love this; they love it. People love this stuff, and it's very authentic. You're being yourself, and along the way you meet people and you have coffee, and they become clients or friends or colleagues. And this is what LinkedIn is for me.
Yeah, because of that. You inspired me last week as we were building out my my brand mantra: be seen, be heard, be remembered. I too bought the URLs seen, heard, remembered, and be seen, heard, remembered. So I'm excited to put those to use in the coming weeks.
Sue, we've been chatting quite a lot over the last couple of weeks about poetry and songwriting and branding. Have you put your songs to music? Have you put your poems to music? Has that occurred to you? Is that part of your ethos?
Well, interestingly, Keith, a composer from Chicago contacted me because they had put one of my poems to music for a choral piece, which they're now trying to get licensed. So if you go to sueelson.com and look under the poems, there's a republished poems page, and I've had about 150 something of my poems republished elsewhere on the interwebs. That's why I Google myself so regularly. One was used in an art piece. I was planning to learn the piano so I could write my own music, because that's what I'd love to be able to do. That's sort of the second stage of it. I started writing poetry in 2016 when my first book was published. So, yeah, it's definitely part of the plan, because apparently music affects us subconsciously. So it would go the next level with the ability to communicate with people. Well, that's why I see it anyway.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you go. I know you're busy. This is why most Aussies don't come to my show, because it's during the day. Yeah. It's 8 p.m. in Toronto at the moment. Actually, 9 p.m. now. So you go and do your thing, but you've now met with Americo. You can go on his show. You've now met Lynn, and she has got great connections in the travel industry in the US. That might be useful to you. And I'll connect them with you, and you can just share your short or your very cool things. So
Thanks,
thank you
Steve.
very much. And a big
Appreciate the
round of
opportunity.
applause for an Australian. An Australian. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Oh, thank
Bye
you
for
very
now.
much. That was lovely. All right. What a cool thing. What a cool thing. America, look at that. Can you believe it? Australia, Canada, America, you know, we're covering the world. Sherry's listening in from New Zealand, originally from Taiwan. So, you know, we're covering the world. I mean, I got to be honest, America, with all this stuff we're doing on the internet, I might never leave the house again.
Hey, let's build on what you just touched on. You had Sue, a native Australian, join the show. And today's topic is, I guess, built around your recent poll. What do you use LinkedIn for? I'd like to pose a question to the audience to see if everyone else is experiencing the same outcome that I experience here in Canada. I find it harder to connect with local Canadians through cold outreach, through my networking attempts. I find it more difficult to meet and connect with those inside my borders when compared to or opposed to those that I'm reaching out to outside of Canada. I have more luck being introduced to Canadian network connections from others than organically reaching out and trying to connect with them. Curious to see and read what others have to say, if there's a similar sentiment in the US, in Australia, or anywhere our audience is showing up.
It's very interesting you ask that question, because Sue and many Australians, Sue might be in this field. She's got a reason, because she's got 30,000 connections, so she's right on the limit of what's possible. A lot of people in Australia will not connect with people unless they've met them in person. Now, I personally reckon that's a really stupid idea. I'm just saying it. I'm just going to say it. You know, I think that's a really stupid idea. I mean, how many people are you going to meet in your lifetime in person? I mean, LinkedIn has 1 billion users, 1 billion, 255 million in North America. There's no way you're going to meet them all in person. So some people, and this is obviously their opinion, only meet people on LinkedIn that they've actually met in person. Now, I think that's a restrictive policy, but it works for some people, and that might explain what you're talking about. That people won't meet with you online unless they've met you in an event. Now, what a stupid idea. I mean, do you think that possibly explains it?
Possibly. Sherilyn's suggesting, have I used hashtags? I'm going to answer this. I think I understand the question. I don't have a problem finding people in Canada. I don't have a problem niching down who I want to connect with. It's once I reach out.
They don't say yes. They don't say yes.
And I know for a fact that cold outreach just gets nowhere. So all my attempts are warm, and I will handwrite each invitation and touch on the fact that here's why I'm reaching out. We're connected. We have mutual connections. We have professional industry alignment, and I'd like for them to be part of my community and what I'm building. And then I've even gone as far as saying, this is a pitch-free invitation. I just want you to be part of what I'm building, and I'd love for your expertise to be shared with my community. So I'm very genuine in my purpose for connecting. I've tried different variations to make it perfectly clear that I have no intention on selling them anything. I'm a social seller. I want people to like, know, and trust me before they're ready to buy from me. But still a difficult time. And when I clean up my invitations, at the end of every week, those who are falling off my request lists are typically Canadians.
What do you think, Lynn? Does that happen to you? Do you find connecting with local people harder than connecting with global people?
Well, I have some local, and I've got a kind of a variety. But when I first, I do remember when I first got into LinkedIn, which really hadn't been that long, but it seemed to be, for some reason, a lot of my connections were from the UK. And not in Alabama. So I just kind of slowly built that up, and so over time I have more people in the state, some that I know, personally, and just some that I've connected with. But yeah, it is. I don't know if it is how the how LinkedIn it puts out, who it puts out or recommends. I don't know what it is that they how that works, but yeah, it was kind of weird starting out. I kept thinking, why do I keep getting all of the people from the UK? And I'm here in Alabama, but and I love the UK. I've been there, I love it. It's so great to have those connections, but it is weird. Yeah.
Can we chat about the global thing? Sue said, just picking up on this idea that it's hard to get locals. What's the I don't have any difficulty with this, but I'm interested in others. What's the difficulty in working internationally? I mean, why don't you just use PayPal? Well, what's the problem with that? I mean, if you were to, for instance, America, do have a client in Florida and charge them in US dollars, would that create some difficulty for you with tax, or is it a complication you'd rather not have?
No, I am set up where I can take payment in any currency through my Stripe account. So my accountant, I guess, would figure it out. Is it difficult? It's not for me to figure out. That's one of the hats that I'd rather not wear, because it's not my area of expertise. But I totally understand there are competitive advantages and disadvantages for what we do. And there are industries. So, for instance, I'm thinking graphic design. And if I had to pay in U.S. currency, it would cost me more to get services rendered from someone in the U.S. It's going to cost me an additional 40 cents on the dollar. But if I were to go to the tech hub in Pakistan or Bangladesh, which has a lot of talent, graphical design talent, who work in their local currency, and even if they charge in US dollars, it's still a fraction. So you really have to know where to charge, what to charge, and if you're not going to be competitive, don't play in that sandbox. So
yeah, it's very interesting you say this, because the idea of outsourcing is a show we're doing in a couple of weeks. This is very, very, very important. I remember I've been to India. For those people who have never been to India, it's a bloody hard place to travel in. It's really hard. Right? But I went to India in 2008, and a guy was saying, "Mate, I'm driving a tuk-tuk all day from like 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. and I'm probably making $10 a day. Probably on a very good day, maybe $1 a day." And this is 2008, and I'm thinking, if you could go online and make a graphic for someone and get $10, that's 10 times more than driving a tuk-tuk all day, but it's 1/10 of the price that an Aussie's going to charge me. Right? So there's two ways to look at that. One is I'm taking the job away from an Aussie who lives in my town, or I'm actually paying someone who would be driving a tuk-tuk 10 times what they make per day for one image. It's only $10 to me. So the idea of outsourcing has another sort of moral conflict. Are we exploiting them, and are we are we not using our local talent, or are we giving them something that they don't have? You can only know this if you read or you go there. Like, I will never go to India again. It's very difficult to travel, and the poverty is so extreme that I can't go there again. I can't witness that again. I just felt awful the whole time. But I know now that they have extreme poverty that we cannot imagine. So imagine if someone who was driving a tuk-tuk and was making $1 a day learned how to use Canva and could be suddenly making $10 a day. They've 10 times their daily income, and we're getting a really cool piece of tech or a really cool graphic. It's a win-win. Is this how you view outsourcing? I'd love to have this. This is a slight discussion worth having. Again, like Lynn said, we start with something and we end up going on this. No one knows that I went to India 2008. I never tell anyone, but that's a part of my history that forms my belief system in the world, because I was so confronted by the poverty there that I had to sort of do something about it. What's your take on outsourcing and sort of using a third party on the other side of the world?
Well, I've been on both sides of this discussion. As an employee locally, nobody likes to see what local jobs being lost to outsourcing. As a business, I completely understand the logistics and the reasoning behind it. It's going to help an organization be leaner and more profitable, more efficient, more effective. And globalization has allowed for that to happen. But I'm kind of torn every time someone suggests it, knowing that there is skilled talent in our own backyards that is being passed up for equally effective talent at a fraction of a price somewhere else. It can be discussed and argued both positively and negatively, and I understand both sides, and I understand the frustration of those who are being impacted by it, because I too have been impacted to some degree. I don't know.
It is a difficult discussion, but I
it's
think
a very difficult discussion.
One of the things I say a lot, which possibly has come out of my traveling experiences and the fact that we travel with Intrepid, which is boots on the ground, traveling in a bus type of travel, is that I like to what I call share the money around. I'm always saying this. Hey, there's a new cafe opened up in the next suburb. Let's go and help them. Let's go and share the money around. I can walk to my local cafe and get a coffee for $4.80, and I go there and I know everyone, and we've been 100 times in the last year. We usually often go about twice a week. So they've been doing okay. They're getting our money, and they make nice coffee. But I like the idea that there's a new cafe on the other side of the street that we haven't met yet. Now, if you take that analogy and make the world your global marketplace, okay, there's a graphic designer living in Dhaka, Bangladesh, with 3 kids living in a hut who just happened to scrounge up enough money to get a laptop. And he makes these kick-ass images for 1/10 of the price of someone who lives in my next suburb who's got 3 houses and a Merc. Now, okay, he's local, lives up the road, probably went to the same school, but he doesn't need the money as much as this guy who's in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Right? So I play that game every day. That moral dilemma game every day. Pakistan, Dhaka, India, Delhi, Philippines. These are all people with kids and rent and skills. They're just as worthy as the person that lived next door to me that went to a private school and has 3 houses, happens to do graphic design on the side for fun. Right? I'm exaggerating to make a point. But can you see what I'm saying there, America? Just because they live in our town or they live in our country doesn't mean that they are more deserving of our income, our our custom. This is a highly debatable topic. I'm probably going to lose an arm for this, but this is the reason I don't go to local events. This is the reason, because I get backed into a corner. Mate, what are you talking about? Buy from me. What do you think? Lynn, you live in a country town, a rural area. What do you think? It'll be a pretty massive sort of point of reference for you there. You'd want to buy local, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I do. I try to buy local and support local business, and I think that's a great thing to do. That's another part of community. Being a part of your own community, and I value that. So pretty important.
Gandhi said, this is like my mantra for life. Gandhi said, live simply so other people can simply live. Now, you won't know this until you've traveled to some of these really destitute places and you realize that here's a guy living in a hut with a laptop in the corner who's just as happy as us. And you don't know, you can't imagine how that can be, mate. You got nothing. You got nothing. There's no TV. There's no Netflix. How can you live without Netflix? Come on. Mate, I've got 3 kids and we're happy and we eat every night and we have a bit of a sing-along every night and we're happy. We don't even, what's Netflix? I've never heard of that. Never. You get this. This one may be what you'll get when you travel. You'll be driving up and down the highway, meeting people in towns that, maybe not have very good internet, but still seem to be able to live.
You touched on something that is extremely visible when I travel. And I see this all the time. And from time to time, I love going down to the Caribbean island. I love going to Cuba. Everyone has a different opinion of it because of the poverty, because of, if I'm going to travel to an all-inclusive beach resort and have to live with scarcity, I don't want to be on that trip. But I go to places like that because it's humbling. I get invited every year to go to India. I have a good friend of mine who's from Goa. He says, you're not going to experience the real India because Goa's, I guess it's a different lifestyle. Goa, I guess he compares it. Goa's the Vegas of India. He says, all you got to do is show up, pay your airfare, and I will take care of you for as long as you want to stay. I want you to experience India. And every year he goes from December and January. He's down there for 2 months. But I enjoy those trips that humble us, because we very easily forget what we have and what we've accumulated. And for some of us, we get caught finding that it's not enough. And trips like that, I enjoy for the history, the architecture, and just the humility.
Yeah, these sort of holidays are not for everyone, and it does take a certain amount of bravery because it's pretty hard going. I don't think I could go to India again. It was so heartbreaking to me. I don't think I could go again. But I've been there now, and I can tick it off. The way that my wife and I travel is that we always go to a new place every time. There's 200 countries. You're only going to live for 100 years, right? So you're not going to get everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I always like to go somewhere different. My sister, on the other hand, goes to Bali every year, sometimes 3 times a year. She just goes to the same place every time because that's her happy place. I get that. I totally get that. But that's not how we travel. I'm really fascinated by how this is progressing. If we've had a couple of comments, and I'm trying to keep up with the comments. There is a bit of a time lag between when you post them and I get them, and I do apologize for that. But we've had a couple of comments about the community versus audience discussion. And given that there was a bit of a time lag, I thought I might just go back to that. What's your take on this, Americo? We are building a community. We're not necessarily building an audience, are we? How do I
No,
differ in your opinion?
and I'm not really interested in building an audience. I want to build with purpose, with intent, and that can only be done if the long-term goal is community,
Yeah.
right? And an audience will come and go, and not bat an eyelash at what you're doing, where your community will nurture and appreciate what you're doing. And in many cases, I see this time and time again, people reaching out saying, keep it up. I love the energy, and it doesn't happen at every post that I put out, and I wouldn't expect it to, but it's more meaningful than any viral post. I'm not chasing virality, but if one person periodically reaches out and says, that really resonates, I love what you're doing, keep it up, don't give up, that tells me that I'm on the right path, building a community that is looking out for me, and I owe it to them to support and look out for them. And that's why I enjoy sharing my stage while I'm building my community, because there's no point in me tooting my own horn and beating my own chest. This isn't just for me, this is for everyone.
Oh, I love this discussion. I love what we're building here. I went to Japan in May, and I remember thinking I was a bit burnt out because I was doing 3 shows a week. And I thought, when I come back, I'm going to do an anchor day. I just want to pick up on this idea of anchor day. I wonder how many other people in the world are as burnt out as I am, because there's so much content on the internet. So much content. We can't keep up. Just can't keep up. So I thought, what I'm going to do? I'm going to do an anchor day show. Once a week, we're going to talk about things as a community. And I'm very proud of this. Like, I'm extremely proud of what I'm doing here. So every Wednesday, 10 a.m., I do a show. And we pick one topic, but we morph and we change. Hello, Marcia. Join in if you like. We've been chatting about all different types of things. You're very welcome to join in on stage if you want, or just make some comments. So what you're saying there, Americo, is what we're doing here. We're building a community. I'm not building an audience. I want to talk to people. I don't want to talk at people. I used to, when I was 18, write songs and sing on stage and sing along with me. And I'm clever. Sing my songs. And it was, it's all about me. But now we are building a community. And I'm very proud of this. And I'm extremely humble that people, do follow along and join in. And we learn from each other, don't we?
Absolutely. And I'm just looking at Robert's comments that came through the thread a while back. Americo, use a front rear dash cam for your road trip. So now there's a request. And I love going on Amazon to buy more tech. Buy a dash cam. While you were talking.
Let's pick up on this, because it's very important. I know it seems probably that we're jumping around, but the point is we are a community. And if the community wants to talk about the road trip, let's move into that. I had this thought yesterday, it was a brand new idea, that Americo loves the idea of jumping in the car and just zipping through towns and interviewing, chatting to people. And we chatted about the Behringer mics that are $25, and he's just going to buy a few and chuck them in the back seat, just in case he runs into someone and you can plug them in. So tell us a bit about this, what this road trip might look like, because I think we're onto something here.
So the way I envision the road trip is, last time I did this, I reached out to my community. I wasn't as active in the live streaming space. I was typically just sharing my requests and reaching out through my written content. And I had reached out, hey, I'm planning a road trip, and here's my path. here's the interstates that I'm going to drive through in the U.S. Here's where I'm driving through Canada to get to the U.S. border. And I'm open to suggestions. Where should I eat? Where should I stay? What should I see? And it got a little bit of attention. Didn't get the attention I was hoping for. But now I'm trying to change that, or at least improve what I did the last time. And now I have the tech to support it. We're going to bring my Zoom P4. Hopefully my Behringer mics come in on time, and I'll be able to pack this up and keep everyone apprised as to what's happening, what's transpiring, where I'm at, where I'm going to be, and see if anyone either meets me somewhere along the road or recommends something for me to stop and visit. And I can do that and share. Hey, here's a recommendation from...
I love this, man. I just love this idea.
From
I'm
Lynn.
so excited by this idea. I want to share a really cool story that happened in conjunction with what we're doing. A friend of mine from New York, very brave person, sold everything. And she said, look, I'm an actress and I could just turn up to LA and be an actress, but I'm an actress in a world full of actresses, and who's going to think of me? Right? She was trying to be proactive. She was trying to stand out. Right? She could arrive in LA and she'd be just lost in the multitudes. Right? So what she did, very brave, she set up a YouTube channel called The Road to Hollywood. That's her YouTube channel. And she says, okay, today I've sold everything. And tomorrow I'm leaving. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the next town. She was in New York. I'm going to go to the next town. And I can't leave that town until I've had a gig in that town as an actress. Very brave. So she turns up to wherever the next town is, a major town, maybe Boston, say. And she goes, okay, I'm here in Boston. I made the trip and here I am. I've found a flat, or I'm sleeping on someone's couch. And one night she slept at the bus stop. And I've got to get a gig before I move. So I'm hustling. And I'm not going to move until I get a gig, and then I'm going to move to the next town. So when she gets to LA, rather than just driving there straight, she's got about 20 videos of her in Boston and Atlanta and, Richmond, Virginia, and, all the way down. I don't know the geography. And there's tears and there was laughing and there was, oh, look, I haven't got a gig up. It's 3 days and I'm sleeping on someone's couch and I'm a bit scared. I'm going to run out of money. And she was being real, right? Very brave. So when she gets to LA, she had like about 20 videos of her being an actress, doing acting gigs to show when she went to an audition. Look, I haven't just turned up. I've been doing this a while. And she used that as almost like her business card, her demo. And I can imagine you doing something similar, America. Okay, here I am. We're on the way to Hawaii, but I thought we might pop into this little town, Pensacola, say, see if the Groundhog Day's there. See if we can find the groundhog in Pensacola. I think that's in Pennsylvania, isn't it? Pensacola, Pennsylvania. That's the only reference I know for that town. But maybe Bill Murray's there. Andy McDowell. Maybe they sort of hung out for the weekend. Groundhog Day. I'm referring to a movie that was, may predate several people in this call. But you can make fun of it. Let's go to the shop they made Groundhog Day in, or let's go to the statue, or you might go to Winslow, Arizona, which is a common road trip story. And they go, here I am standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. They've actually got a statue there now of the guy from the Eagles standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. Such a lovely sight to see. And there's a whole statue around that song. Now you could go to that statue, and so I can't wait to see what you do with this. It's so interesting to me.
Well, I'm hoping that something beautiful will come out of it. It has the potential for an authentic story, and everyone talks about the importance of storytelling and sharing your narrative, and the importance of bringing your personal story along with your personal brand as you're building it. So I'm equally excited. I know that it may I might have high expectations, and it might turn out to be nothing, because I might not get any recommendations or catch people at the right time as I'm passing through. I will try my best to proactively engage and give updates as to where I am. But there's an opportunity here if I plan this in such a way that I do a circuit. I can go down I-95 and up I-75 and hit the Virginias, Pennsylvania, New York State, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, of course. But on the way back, Georgia, and we have two close friends in Georgia. And if imagine taking a Keithy with America's Supermom, Lachelle, and Bez.
And Bez.
Yeah.
Right?
And you met up. I love this idea. So I'm leaning into the fact that I'm very comfortable on the internet, and I'm not that into the real world. I'm just saying, I'm just not into it. But I mean, I don't mind it. I wouldn't spend my personal time there, right? But you're the opposite. You don't mind being a bit creative and a bit spontaneous. Like I have to know I know exactly what I'm doing from here till Christmas. I know exactly. I can tell you for sure. I even know what I'm doing in 2030. I know what I'm doing. I have to know. That's how that's the way my mind works. But you're happy to say, mate, I don't know what's going on tomorrow. I might just take off and go to visit Bez in Atlanta. Let's just do that. And I just think that would be a very, very, very interesting story to tell. And people would follow along, and you would build your brand and your business that way. You would. I mean, you just would. Because people can see that you're engaged and they're into it. And you would create a very compelling idea. I remember Groundhog Day. So I love this. And as a travel agent, Lynn, I guess you sort of can see the point. Do you often see people doing road trips as a travel alternative now?
I do, but I gotta ask Marico. Now you're gonna be in Georgia. That's only 2 hours away from Bama, yeah. And Jay and I are both here in Bama, so
awesome.
Just saying. When are you going, by the way? When does all of this take place?
So I'm planning to be right now. The projection is the last 2 weeks of September.
Okay. Gosh, right around the corner.
Yeah. And I don't know if you heard this story, Lynn, but it was very, very exciting. Like it was Social Audio 101. Americo said, "Hey, I got this really good deal. Behringer mics, $20. What do you think?" Right. And our initial thought is, well, geez, they can't be good for $20. It can't be very good. But I Googled them. They are very good. Like they're quite good. And for $20, he's going to get two of them and chuck them in the back seat. Can you imagine that Americo's in the driving down the highway with a Zoom P4 and two mics in the back, and he pulls up and there he is with some friends, and he just pulls the mic out and records. Very spontaneous. Like I'd listen to that content.
Me too. Very cool.
Very cool. Now it could be a live stream, but it could also be recording. The Zoom P4 has a capacity of 512 gigabytes, and the average length, the average stat for a single minute of audio is 1 megabyte. Now, just Google that. That's 512,000 megabytes. So 512,000 hours is almost the length of the amount that we have on YouTube every day. So I think, Americo, if you get really good at this, and you might even be morphing into that photo soon, I reckon you could be on the road for 5 years and you'll never run out. I mean, you're starting to sort of remind me of that Forrest Gump run, you know, where he gets to the top of the hill and he says, you know what? I think I finished. Yeah. Remember the Forrest Gump run?
Mhm.
Yes, that's hilarious comparison.
If you get in the car, you could travel indefinitely on 1 gigabyte on one SD card. And then when you get back to the hotel or back home, you could just do a series. Here's me interviewing Lynn in Bama. I got to Alabama. I got to Georgia. Here's my friend Bez in it, and Lachelle. And here I am in ... Here I am in ... Here I am in.com. Let's go and get that. Let's go and get that URL. Here I am in.com. I don't know if it's available, but that could be our next song. Here I am in Alabama. Here I am in Georgia. Here I am in Washington, D.C. That could be our next song. Here I am. Here I am. I think that's already a song. So this is good stuff. Here I am in.com. And that can be your sort of road trip mantra. Here I am in a diner in Pensacola, having the exact same meal that Bill Murray had on his 13th incarnation of Groundhog Day, where he had all the sweet things. You know, just unlimited potential. So good. So good. And you've already got the Shaw 58, so you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the Behringer, but they should come soon. But what I wanted to say, Lynn, is that these mics are $20, and they are so good. But they do need a mixer, which you don't have, so they probably wouldn't suit you because they can't plug straight into the computer. You do need a mixer, which you'll get one day down the track.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We've got quite a few people on the call. I know that a lot of people don't want to talk, so I'm going to do two things. One is if you've got any questions at all about the road trip or about social audio or about Alabama or Groundhog Day or this funny way I speak down here, please put them in the chat. I'd love to get to 100 comments a day every time we do a show. I'd love to get to 100. I think we're at about 60 now. And it's just a fun thing to do. You can see why the engagement is so high on these shows, can't you? Because we're having fun. People are engaging in real time with real people. I mean, it's so brilliant, isn't it?
We are. And I just connected with Sherilyn, who was on the show. She and I weren't connected, so we just connected, and she sent me a DM. She lives in Monroe, North Carolina, and if I'm down this way during that road trip, she'd love to meet up. She's known you for 5 years, so she's asking for me to
just to let you know this. I know the one reason I love doing this show is it reminds me how much I've done. But 5 years ago, Sherilyn contacted me and says, "Oh, you're a bit of a dude with Twitter, and I have a big community of writers. I'm very proud of this." And so she said, I think we might create a product. And I said, okay, let's create them. I'm so excited about this. We created a product called Twitter Write. Twitter for writers, but using Twitter right. Right? So it was Twitter, WRITE.com, Twitter Write. Learn how to use Twitter right. Learn how to use Twitter to write. Right? I thought that was a bloody clever reference. And we created this, 10-part series, which was a podcast, which was pretty popular in about 2020. And this was when Twitter was called Twitter. And I used to be a bit of a dude back in the day. Now I'm a different dude. I'm just a different bit of a dude. I'm a LinkedIn dude now, not a Twitter dude. So we have known each other for a very, very, very long time. And we did that, I think it was 2020. And you just never know who comes back from your past, right? And pops up again. So it's so cool. I would love for others to come up on stage. I don't like to let everyone do all the hard work. Lynn and America are doing a bit of the heavy lifting there. But if you'd like to come up on stage, I'd love to have you. We're talking about LinkedIn, and let me just regroup for those who've just joined us. We're asking the question: how do you use LinkedIn? And this is part of our Anchor Day series. So the 4 reasons that people mainly use LinkedIn, other than looking for a job, is 1, they love networking. I love networking, but I don't like doing it in person. I love meeting new people, as long as I don't have to go into the city to do it. I love it. I love doing it. A lot of people, and this surprises me, and I want to pick up on this a bit, a lot of people use LinkedIn for personal branding. And this has led us to the conversation about audience versus community. I'm here. I know what I'm talking about. I've got a skill you probably need. Call me, and I'll share what I have for a price. Right? It's very one directional, maybe a little bit transactional. I don't know. I'm loading that up a bit. I'm very interested in your thoughts there. The other thing that people do is I don't do this, but a lot of people use LinkedIn as a sort of a news source in an industry environment. Okay, what's going on in the financial services industry or the real estate industry? Apparently that's quite a good thing. And a lot of people use it for professional development. Were you quite surprised by the stats there about networking and personal branding, or are you starting to find, Americo, that personal branding is the main reason people use it?
I was surprised to see how low the professional development was. Because there's a huge investment that LinkedIn puts into producing their educational content.
It was less than 10%, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's probably as low as it is because it's behind a paywall. And I think if you split the membership, I don't know, but I'm guessing that
is it a premium feature?
Yeah, it's a premium feature. So I'm guessing those who have a free membership would like to, but they don't have access to it, and they're not prepared to pay $50 a month to get the educational resources. But
what do they have there? I got to be honest, I didn't really even know they had professional development there. It's not something that occurred to me. The stuff that I've seen doesn't seem unique to me, or am I just completely missed that?
No, there are you can get professional certifications. Like there's some pretty robust certificate programs, and then there's just some simpler upskilling certifications. But there's a great library in a variety of industries, verticals, sectors. There's something for everyone. Mm-hmm. Question is it worth it to you?
Yeah. Well, look, let's have this discussion. This is very, very, very cool. 7% of the people that have voted so far say they use the professional development element of LinkedIn. I don't use it. I've never come across anything that struck me as being magnificent, but maybe I'm not looking. What about you, Lynn? Do you use it for professional development? Have you seen something there that grabbed your attention and was worth jumping into?
Well, yes, I've seen things not really for me, but I certainly looked for my husband because, when, with his layoff, of course I did, being on LinkedIn, I'm always trying to find things that he could maybe benefit, with. So.
What types of things are there, America? Let's have that discussion for those that aren't using the professional development element.
So let's take the AI movement, for instance. There is just an abundance of AI courses for people who are novice, intermediate, and advanced. Then if you kind of look at the whole tech side, There's people who want to learn coding, Python, SQL, and all of those tech skills. You can upskill and you can get certifications. There's professional development, leadership programs, courses. Like it's endless. I'm going to pull it up here and see what I could share.
I know that LinkedIn at one stage bought lynda.com. I don't know if you've heard of that, Lynda with a Y. And so that in itself was a huge reference library of things. Maybe that's just not how I process the world. I don't typically learn that way. I am a more a kinesthetic learner. So I'm not the sort of person to just sit and watch videos to learn things. I have to do it. I have to do it myself. Like I worked out how to use Suno, and I worked it out. I have to work it out. So I'm not going to watch a video to learn how to use Suno. I got to do it myself. So it's my learning style. What about you, Lynn? Yep, you go, America. What are you thinking?
So LinkedIn will pair up the ideal learnings based on your profile. So if you have your profile optimized, it will suggest, here's what's popular for your profession, your skill. And right now, if I look at top picks for Americo, according to LinkedIn, they're recognizing me as a marketing persona. So I can take a course to optimize, SEO course to optimize my social media profile, project management, marketing and analytics. So it's tailored to my my profile. Mm-hmm. I can then veer off the recommendations and just look at what's available. You know, if I were into here, I'm looking at privacy and compliance for AI and data governance. So there's that AI suggestion. Coding, like we can spend hours talking about what's available here, or it can be something more rudimentary. I think, for instance, Microsoft, the Microsoft suite, you can take courses to polish up your Excel, your PowerPoint, and any of the Microsoft platforms, and use it for that.
Wow. I just because it's not the way I learn, I never looked for that. But a lot of this is behind the premium paywall.
Yes.
Okay.
Business, technology, creative courses.
Great to know that business never sleeps. This is very, very cool, Marceline. I hope that's how you pronounce that spelling. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. It's 11:45 on Wednesday here. We are so far away. It's actually tomorrow. Like it takes 16 hours on a plane to get from Melbourne to LA. That's how far away we are. And so it's so far away. Like it's not midnight there, but we're already in the middle of the day, the middle of the next day, right? So that's 14 hours ahead. So exciting. I feel like I'm in an episode of Back to the Future. So, and yell out if you want the Tatsloto numbers. So, Marcy, if you want to jump in and tell us about how you use professional development, that would be a very cool thing to do. Very, very cool thing, because you're right. LinkedIn never sleeps. And this is the reason I love the global vibe. I love the global vibe. I just love it. I love the fact that there's someone online all the time. It's getting late in the eastern states, but it's 3 hours behind in LA. People are starting to get home from work and putting the kids down to sleep, and there's nothing on TV. I might get some people calling in from Vancouver or from LA, San Francisco, San Diego. It's, what time is it now? 5 p.m. in Hawaii. People are just getting home from work. It's 2 p.m. in Auckland. Right. I just love the global vibe. Just love it. Absolutely love the global vibe. So I want to just spend a bit of time here on this professional development, because I like learning stuff, but it never occurred to me to do it here. It just didn't occur to me. I mean, I'm a bit embarrassed, but It does appear to be like a whole library there, doesn't it, America?
Absolutely. There's a bottomless pit of things that any one of us who are prepared to pay for or willing to pay for. Listen, this was my initial, not going to lie to you, it was my initial reason for getting premium. I felt that when I was retrenched, hey, here's an opportunity for me to upskill. And that's when I made the decision to pay for premium. Felt it's a great way to get through the winter. Nothing to do. Let's go online and see what we can learn. But the winter has come and gone, and it's almost upon us once again. And I continue to pay for it and take advantage of some of the features that come with premium.
Yeah, that's actually quite inspiring. When I'm a kinesthetic type of person, so during lockdown, I started a show called Live Streaming Decoded. I'm quite excited and proud of this. What we did was with no knowledge, we actually examined every single live streaming product on the market in 2020. We pulled it apart and gave it a score. Like 10 minutes before the show, we'd never heard of it. Okay, today we're using Restream. What's that? Oh, well, let's try it. And we were like guinea pigs. And like the shows were horrible. But we learned that's how I learn. That's how I learn. I've got to be in it. I've got to be doing it. That's how I learn. I like to push buttons. So the first Restream show we did in 2020 there was a 45-minute wait to get online because it was so slow. So this is very early, very clumsy. I swore I would never use it again. It was so embarrassing. Mates were saying, "Hey, where are you? I can't get it to work. I've got to work this out." And that's how I learn. And it was in a way very exciting, but in a way very embarrassing. It actually makes a lot more sense to watch a few videos beforehand, but that's just not my style. I'm not a sort of a textbook, get the manual type. I got to touch things. I got to push the buttons. Are you a manual type of guy? Do you get the manual out and read before you play? Americo, are you a sort of read before you go type of guy?
I'm read as you go when it comes to assembling something. I'll lean on the pictures. I'm not going to read the manual. I do catch myself with extra parts at the end. It does happen from time to time.
Oh man, that's so funny. You know, I never ever read the manual ever. Never ever. I just don't. I want to do it. What about you, Linda? When you're doing something, learning, this is a very interesting story about learning styles. Do you read in advance and make sure everything's right before you push go, or do you just get it out of the box and have a play?
Google it. No, I'm very hands-on. I'm a bit like you in that sense. I do like to, I have to do something, if it's dependent, and I guess it depends on what it is. What is it that I'm, if it's a course, I can watch a video to learn. I can do that. I haven't done one in it's been, well, actually it has been quite recent. I did do something. I did do a training video just recently. I sure did. So on some new product that I'll be maybe discussing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can watch a video, but I'm not. I don't know if I were assembling something though, like if I were putting something together. Heck no, I would not read the manual, and I would probably just Google it.
Yeah.
Google help or Chat GPT.
I want to talk about Suno in this context. Suno is arguably one of the highlights of 2025. Suno.ai is a piece of tech that allows you to write songs that sound like the radio. and I had to work it out. And I thought, so I'll be full disclosure. I watched a video about how the Velvet Sundown did this. We'll have this discussion in a minute, but Velvet Sundown is a band with 5 million downloads on Spotify and 2 million followers. Right? I think it's 5 million now. And I thought, well, how did they do that? How did they do that? I got to work this out. So I saw a video of a guy that says, look, there's this little box. Just type in what you want and experiment. That's it. I watched a video for about 10 seconds. And I thought, okay, that's how they did it. They were loosely, that song is very loosely based on a 70s band called Kansas, which does exist and still exists. Mm-hmm. And they had a hit called Dust in the Wind. Mm-hmm. Right? And then someone, I don't know who, created a song called Dust and the Wind in 2024 and created this band called Velvet Sundown. Now, have you heard this story, Americo? And Lynn, have you got a take on what I'm talking about here? Have you heard this story?
Yes, you had shared the story with us a few weeks back, how this synthetic piece of music, AI-generated piece of music, hit the... I didn't even know that there were AI music charts now.
Yeah. So the basic. Have you heard this story, Lynn? Have you heard me talk about it?
Mm-hmm. I have. It is wild.
Yeah. So I'll Google this in a minute to find the exact numbers. But a person, created a band called the Velvet Sundown, and created a series of songs, an album, loosely based. I don't know if this was their intention, but it sounds like a band in the real world called Kansas, who had a song in 1977, right, called Dust in the Wind, or Dust and the Wind. And I saw a video on how that was created. And then once I knew how it was created, I didn't need to watch the video anymore. I went in. Now, you may not have heard this, but I want to play this as an example. So we, as part of this story, have been experimenting with writing songs using Suno based on a tagline: be seen, be heard, be remembered. Right? Now, just to give you a very obscure reference, we've been mainly doing songs based on 80s and 90s and noughties sounds, but I thought it'd be fun to do a song based on the 40s, not the noughties. So you haven't heard this yet, Americo, but this is my 40s mix of Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Remembered with a trombone solo and some really gorgeous girl playing piano. Have a listen to this.
Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever. The live streaming tech is ready. The mic and studio are set. Is the audience here yet? They better be. It's a show they will never forget. Hearts are racing. This is the moment, the one we've been waiting for. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever. Is your personal brand fading? The choice is online events, social authority rising, engaging vibes. Followers keep moving, your network stands still. We're chasing awareness, we're closing the deal. The engagement is heating, fans call out your name. This is no longer a game. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replay is just gone forever.
Trumpet solo.
Events saw the spark, audience the fuel you crave. They said it would never work. Now you wanna go live again. You no longer fade, no longer hide. You're born to ignite. You're the energy burning bright. Be seen.
Be heard, be remembered. I've got to do my inner Frank Sinatra now.
Right.
Together,
And the replay
just go on forever.
It's got a little bit of that Mac the Knife vibe.
Kind of fun.
be seen. Be
Heard, be remembered. Can you imagine driving down the highway singing this one, America?
Love it.
Yeah.
And the replay
Just go on
just go on
forever. Now, I just did that yesterday for fun, because that's what we've got. We've got Suno.ai. I've got 26 versions of that song now, America. Now, we chatted about AI yesterday. I want to have a bit of a chat about this. We said that we are now up to ChatGPT 5. So the people that are saying, "Oh, I'm not going to use AI," no way, I'm using AI. We're already 5 versions in. Imagine if those same people that said, "Oh, I'm not using AI," suddenly decided in 2026, when they invent ChatGPT 6, I better start using it. Oh God, there's a lot to learn. Oh, there's a lot here. Or how am I going to keep up? I've got to do a course. So we have been chatting a lot about AI, especially in the context of outsourcing, because that's the opposite end of the scale. I could pay someone to do a graphic in Bangladesh and pay them $10, or I could use bing.com/create. I think that's what it is. Bing.com images, and create them for $15 a month, unlimited. Right. So the tech is here for us to use, and we've now got to decide where we ethically stand here, and whether or not we can really avoid doing it. Because how are we going to keep up otherwise, mate? You talk a lot about this, don't you, America?
That's right. It's we're going to be left in the dust if we don't adapt and adopt. But more importantly, I think it's important that we understand that these are tools, and if we embrace them as tools, great. But if we embrace them to allow us to be imposters, where we're just copying and pasting and taking credit for something that someone or something else helped us create, that I would consider cheating. And we see it in the written word. We can point out a written post that was crafted by AI and had 0 editing or alterations.
It's a very interesting thing. I mean, as people may have heard, I used to be a muso, and I had a DX7. Well, actually a V50, which was a DX7 plus a sequencer. So I could write my own songs, have the bass and the drums played, and I could just play keyboards over the top and then sing. And I was pretty fancy. But when in the 80s, when synthesizers were invented, there was huge discussion about this. Like, what do you mean you've got this synthesized sax sound? Well, you've just done away with the whole brass section. Yeah, that's true. But 6 guys have got to turn up, 3 trombones, 3 trumpets. I've got to pay them. We've got to rehearse. I've got to give them the charts, the written music, and they've got to turn up on time and be at the gig. What about if I just do it as a sequence? Well, you're cheating, Keith. You're cheating, Keith. Well, yes, but it saves me time, and I can do the gig on my own. Maybe not on my own because I'm not that good a singer. So you could do these gigs in the corner, and you've all seen this at pubs and clubs and cafes where there's someone in the corner, one person with a backing track, drums and bass and maybe keyboards, and they sing over the top and might play guitar. This has been going on for like 20 years. But at the time, it was heresy. Just major heresy. Right? We used to call drum machines, we used to call drummers human drum machines. That's very. I hope there's no drummers in the audience. We used to. This is a bit. But the thing is, I was in bands, and the drummer would ring up and go, "Oh man, sorry, I can't come tonight." What do you mean you can't come tonight? We got a gig in the city. We're getting paid. I can't come. I feel sick. All right, no worries. Shit happens. We did the gig without a drummer. Sounded terrible. Right? A drum machine never has a sickie, never has a day off. Sounds great. Really cool sounds. Push a button. I'm exaggerating to make a point because we're now on that really cusp of the ethic discussion. And imagine how drummers used to feel in the 80s when a drum machine was invented. Have you ever had this discussion with musos and sort of creative people, America?
Well, I've not with musicians, but it's definitely something that every industry professional can relate to some degree. Like when I had a team working along my side, I probably think back and look and consider what AI is doing today. It's like, hey, that AI chatbot isn't going to call in sick ever. So what's transpired in the music industry through tech or through the evolution of tech, instruments and musicians are being replaced by tech. That is now starting to find its way into every industry. I remember in the 80s, I was pretty young, but I still remember the stories when the auto industry started to move people off the lines because the robots were coming in. Right? So we're at a time and a place where no industry is safe by tech and by AI for that matter. So let's embrace it.
Is tech and AI affecting the travel industry? Lynn, I'd love to hear your take on that. How are you affected by it now?
I don't know that it's, I mean, I don't think it's not affecting me other than it as a tool that I utilize. I mean, I guess I could see where, that AI could, because there's that AI agent, but I still think as far as services, I think people want to have a person to talk to.
Yeah, we do.
So I don't know. I we'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Keep me honest. Keep me honest here, Lynn. Didn't the travel industry suffer during the debut of the Expedias and those online platforms that enabled people to book their own trips?
They did. But
Right.
You know what happened, Americo, is that when people started to do that, they found that doing all that research, because it is so time consuming, that made them actually go to travel agents, because they were spending so much time online. Oh, you're searching through all this material, and it is time. I mean, if you've ever booked travel for yourself, you're looking at a lot of material, and a lot of hotels and a lot of a lot of different airlines and where do you want to what what am I trying to say? I'm losing my train of thought. But you also need to have your from point A to B from the airport.
Your transfer. Yeah, your transfer.
Your transfer. Yes, thank you.
Mm.
So all of those things go together, and any tours, and then you got to research that. And if you're going to take a train while you're on the tour, and I mean, all that it can be very. I mean, it's weighing. I mean, and it's like, oh, because I'm an agent and I do it, and it can be just even putting together a quote. It's a lot because you're looking at a lot of different suppliers, especially if you've got to work within a certain budget. You've got to think about that. There's a lot to think about. So I do. That's what happened. So yeah, at first it did hurt. I do. It did. You're absolutely right. But it has. But since that time, people do realize that value of using somebody.
Yeah, I love this discussion. We're talking about AI now from the point of view of Suno. Bez, you just missed the jazz version. I've now got songs all the way from the noughties to the 40s. No, the 40s to the noughties. And I've got a version of each in every genre in between. It's taken me a while, but I've got 26 versions of that song. I'm just interested in your take on AI, and jump in, and you've come in. We've been going already 2 hours. I'll pick up on this for you. But what's your take on AI? Can we avoid it?
I don't think so. I think it actually has been around since the 1950s, so it's had quite a long shelf life. It really was sort of a desert wasteland until 2012 when neural networks came online, and that really advanced AI and machine learning as we know it. So AI is a subset under machine learning. So um, you'll see, and I believe I'm correct on that, or it could be I could be 100% wrong, but you have something that has been advancing over the years. Now, what a lot of I'm a recruiter, and I've done a lot of tech recruiting, even though I'm more in healthcare right now. But people would come and say, "Hey, Bez, go find me a software engineer that large language models, deep learning, an AI, machine learning." They'll throw all these Python and all these requirements they need, and that's been going on for years. But what's happened is that nobody was sharing their secret sauce. Now, with OpenAI and ChatGPT democratizing, people's heads are blown. They're like, wow, this is the best thing since sliced bread. But this has been a long journey, and you're not seeing what nation states have. You're not seeing what private companies have. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there that if you knew about it would blow your mind. But what we have available today is just going to be evolving as it trains and learns, and is accessible to you. There's a lot of AI out there that isn't accessible to normal people like you and me.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's going to be around.
It's a fascinating discussion because I'm sort of sitting on the fence about AI for music, because I can write songs. I know how to write them. And I'm thinking, with the push of a button, it took me 10 seconds to create that song that sounded like Diana Krall. And to me, as a musician, I'm thinking, that doesn't seem very fair. That person has spent 10 years learning piano and can play in front of a crowd and has a band, and they need to make money. And I can push a button and make my song sound like a Diana Krall concert. And so I'm still sitting on the fence saying it's here, and is it fair? but we also, on the other hand, have said in this call that we're up to Chat GPT 5 now. This is not a new thing in the current public forum.
No.
So, but I might regroup because you've come in 2 hours in.
Right. That's
We-
fine.
we-
Just keep going.
We've been chatting about how do you use LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
you might be.
That wasn't me.
The four major ways. 60% of people say they use it for networking, which is how I use it. 30%. Let me just get my numbers right. Maybe 25% of people say, you know what, I use it for personal branding, right? And I had this aha moment. Now I know why I'm getting so many selfies on my LinkedIn feed. LinkedIn is not Instagram. But people who use Instagram also use LinkedIn, and they think that it's the same. So personal branding is a big thing on LinkedIn. Industry insights is also quite big. And we've just finished a really good discussion about how professional development is not overly utilized on LinkedIn, even though there's lots there. How do you use LinkedIn, Bess? You want to tell me of those four things? How do you use it?
Well, networking is one thing, but I'm a recruiter, so I also use it to recruit people, right? It gives me, insights into great talent that I can get. So, mainly for me as a profession to recruit people. Then I also use it to network, right? And then of course to develop your professional brand or your personal brand, so people are aware of who you are and what you do, and it helps establish your thought leadership. So those are mainly how I use it. Now I mainly am in the B2B space, so I'll just tell you that when I've also dabbled in the B2C, but in the B2B space it's a whole different ball game, and I don't think a lot of people understand that you can actually do 5, 6, 7-figure deals. I've seen that happen off LinkedIn. So it's possible, especially in the B2B space. People in the B2B space, they're ready to spend money if you have the solution that solves their problem. And you better have a place they can swipe their credit card, because they're going to say, where can I swipe my 10 grand? So it's a little bit different than in the B2C space, but people still make money here in the business to consumer. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. The last time I checked the stats, the average per capita household income here in the United States was $75,000 for those on LinkedIn. So that's not too shabby compared to other networks. I'm just talking about United States. Each country's a little bit different, but you look at the statistics, and I think, Keith, you and I've looked at this before over time. Every country's a little bit different. How many users are on LinkedIn from different countries? Remember, LinkedIn only has about 240 LinkedIn users out of the over 1 billion that LinkedIn has. So
I think it's
most
about
of the audience,
300K, but you're right, 300 million. That's right.
Okay, 300. Okay, but that's still small in compared to 1.2 billion people that are on LinkedIn out total around the world. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities outside the United States as well.
Well, you may be surprised, but today, this is really quite cool. This has never happened before. We had an Aussie LinkedIn expert calling in from Melbourne.
Oh,
The thing that was fascinating, you would have loved this person. Her name is Sue. I'll connect you. She only goes to in-person events. She doesn't go to
Sue?
Yeah, Sue Ellison's her name. And she never does any content online anymore, other than the occasional video. I'll throw to everyone else's take on this, but basically we had this amazing show, amazing conversation with someone who uses LinkedIn as an adjunct to in-person events. So you would have related to her really related to her.
yeah.
So she goes to 3 or 4 in-person events a week.
Okay.
And she stopped doing online events because they don't work for her.
Right.
And what she was saying was that she now does these little short videos on a phone and she gets phone calls as a result of these phone videos. So we are almost polar opposites. She's not that close, but I could get to her house in say 45 minutes, and she's invited me, but I'm not going because it's so far away and there's so much traffic and it's hard to park, and I just don't want to.
So can I ask you, what is her demographic and also, she says it's interesting. She doesn't do online events. I think you can have success on online events, but it takes a certain type of approach, sort of like it's a different approach in real IRL, right? And so, pick your poison. You can do both, or you can focus on one. I think you can be successful, but I think what she's doing is looking up people who might be there, sort of doing a little cyber sleuthing and preparing to making sure that she goes to an event. She's very focused on who she's going to be talking to, and she's strategic. I would probably guess that is actually what she's doing with LinkedIn as she goes to IRL events.
Yeah, I mean, I might be putting words in the mouth there, but what did you get from that, Americo? Did I capture that, or did I miss a few bits? What do you think Sue's main strategy was there? I think Lynn, did you want to jump in there? I think Americo's just stepped away. What did you get from Lynn? Was that right? She only goes to in-person events and doesn't do it in online events anymore?
Well, that is what I thought she did say. She did do them at one time, but didn't find them very successful for her. And she prefers to go to in person. And she, she was I really enjoyed the conversation with her. Clever lady.
Very insightful, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Now, I know Sue's also part of a BNI.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with BNI, but that's my opinion. I totally disagree with BNI. But so she loves BNI. She loves in-person events, and she goes to a couple every week. And she's great. She's busy, and she's very good at what she's been on the TV. Like, she's the person that you see on the TV when something happens on LinkedIn. They call her. She's been on the TV many, many, many times. So I've seen many examples of that. And so she called in today as an example of what to do. And we may eventually meet in person, but not where she lives, because it's so busy, so much traffic, very hard to park. And I hate driving. So it was very, very fascinating. But what I'm interested in, Bez, today is I'm interested in the idea that a lot of people are now using LinkedIn for personal branding. And as a guy, do you think selfies are a thing? Well, more than a thing, do they work? Or are they just a sort of a cheap trick because they're easy to do? I'm really interested in this because I don't take selfies, and I'm trying to get my head around why people take them.
But that's not personal branding. I think that's just having fun, right? I guess you could develop a personal brand as someone who takes selfies and you're really into yourself, and your ego reigns supreme. But that's not really where most people want to invest in their personal branding, the narcissism of oneself. They want to, you want to come, show your thought leadership. You want to advance your message or what you're trying to accomplish. So you're strategically positioning yourself and developing a personal brand. But there's things you're going to do that are going to be in the benefit of others, right? Not so much you. So selfies, I would, to me, that's more like, hey, your personal account and you're having some fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't build a personal brand on selfies. You build a personal brand on how you show up.
But
right? People will say,
why are people doing it?
Well, because, they think they're beautiful. They think they're great, and life is long. And so they're going to catch their 15 minutes while they look beautiful and great, and but you won't see them later on when they they start to metamorphose.
Yeah, that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, there's
It was a
none.
very interesting discussion with Sue. Now it's always fascinating because you always come like halfway in. But this is something that I wanted to mention for Americo, and hopefully we'll be back by the time we actually chat about this. You'll love this. Americo said yesterday, mate, I found these Behringer mics for $20. The Behringer
Yeah.
SL42, 20 Canadian dollars. They come in a really nice padded bag. Can you tell, you've got Behringer mics, can you tell us how they are? Are you using it now, or are you just ringing on your phone?
I'm using it right now. I mean, I have a little squishy whatever over it, but yeah, I use the Behringers. I think I've got something like that. I found them on sale, and they were a dynamic mic. They got great reviews. So, I mean, throw it in through my mixer, my Go XLR, or the other ones, whatever ones I want to choose, and it sounds pretty good. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be $100 mic. The Behringers work pretty good.
Yeah, they were $20, and I don't know if you've heard this story, you heard us talking about this, but Americo is now planning a sort of a road trip.
Ooh,
And
where?
from Toronto to Florida.
He's got to pass by my place.
That's right. And so so you must have had your ears burning because we're talking about you. And we were talking about he's going to throw a couple of Behringer mics in the back. And his P4, and he while he's in the car driving anyway, he's probably going to drive past several houses that or several towns where friends of his live.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll wait for Americo to come back on this, but this is not what I'm going to do. But what Americo does is he loves road trips, and he's thinking of driving from Toronto to Florida and back, and he's going to pass a hell of a lot of really interesting people. So he's going to stop on the way.
Okay.
So we're now experimenting with where the sort of pure social audio could go, because we mentioned last week that it's summer there, and people are thinking, well, mate, why would I hang out on the internet when I could be at the beach having an ice cream? I mean, I'm not going to do that. I want to watch the sunset at the beach and have an ice cream. Why would I hang out online? So that's why not many people are coming to the show. But imagine taking the idea on the road. That'd suit you too, because you're an in the world type of person, aren't you?
I'd love to shake hands and kiss a few babies. Absolutely.
Have you ever thought of having your own show where you interview people?
Yes, I have. I may do an entrepreneur thing tomorrow after our entrepreneur meetup. I don't know if I told you, but last Wednesday. So I knew the 1 million cups, which is a entrepreneur meetup. Right, I told you, right? Okay, so we've been over the summer doing about 20, 25. And it's been really good. People love coming, good vibe, good group of people, a lot of new people, a lot of the same ones coming back, keeps growing little by little. Last week, we had 42 people show up.
Wow, that's good.
And we had a media personality actually come, because we knew she was coming, to come to do a piece on us. It happened to be our biggest group. And it was amazing. The energy was on fire. People were making reels and stories about this, saying, hey, you got to go to this place. I would highly recommend you go to this 1 million cups. And they were talking all about it. And I was seeing stuff pop up on social media all over the place.
Where do you have it?
Yeah, I mean,
do you always have it at the same place, the same coffee shop?
Well, what happened is we have it at a really nice hotel in town that was rebuilt, and we went to them and said, we would like to have it here. We would like you to gift us and sponsor us for that, and we can bring you a new vibrant crowd. And they said, look, they wanted to do something in the community, and they said yes. And since then, we've been in the paper 5 times. Somebody just wrote another article, so we'll see how that goes, if it gets in. But we've been featured in the paper 5 times, and we've been on the front page 4 times. So we've got a lot of what they call earned media.
Earned media. What's the premise? It's
Mhm.
is this something that's in your town, or is this a movement that's all throughout the whole US?
Well, it's actually throughout. We're just a chapter where it's a nonprofit funded by the Kauffman Foundation, which is, if you have an idea, they're the ones that pour kerosene on a big idea. I've had friends that pitch them ideas, and they say, no, come back when your idea is bigger. You know, like, so this 1 Million Cups has 110 chapters across the United States. I don't know if they have any in Canada or in Mexico, but I know they have them in the US. There's only 2 in Georgia. We have the second one, but there's one in Atlanta, but ours is thriving big time. But we have a total of 9 organizers. Yes, that's the website, 1millioncups.com. We have a total of 9 organizers, and there's a lot of behind the scenes of little things we do that make it a good product. We really take pride in the product that we have. 9 organizers is a lot of organizing. So I'm sort of the one that makes sure that we divide the work. We fight as little as possible, because, you know, people start to own tasks, and they own it, you know, they want to own it, and sometimes they don't want to give it up. I'm trying to make sure that everyone has something to do, and that we engage the organizers, because when we first started it, there was 4 of us that were organizers, and the difference happened when we recruited another 5 organizers to the team, and each of them brought their greatness, and that actually put us over the top. So it's an entrepreneur meetup. Our responsibility is to do it every Wednesday. We do it at 9:00. We can sort of get to choose when in the morning. They'll give us a little flexibility on that. We follow their rules. They send us all the swag. They send us everything we need, and they have the systems. About we just open shop, get sponsors for coffee, and in fact, I'm going to share something with you. I'm going to put the person who did a piece. You're going to like this, Keith. They actually interviewed me.
Wow.
And I don't like to really, put myself, hey, I got an ego, I'll admit. But, I really like to put the organizers and everybody else in front and center, because I think they're the people that make it go. And I'm just there to facilitate and make sure it's moving forward. But I'm going to drop this link here. The piece is about 1 minute and 32 seconds, but they really talk about, they take video shots, they interview people. Our speaker, oh my goodness, she was amazing. She brought pastries, she sponsored the coffee, and she invited a lot of people. I think she made a big difference. She invited a lot of her friends. So we just want to keep the momentum going, and the biggest thing we do is we are a community that we give the community hug. We uplift the entrepreneur, and we make sure that when they come in, they feel welcome. Not only that, we make sure everyone gets introduced, and we go around and we ask them, hey, what do you do? And we ask them, give us an ask or a give. So they can ask for something, right? And it gives them a chance. And then what happens after we have a speaker that talks, what happens after that, Keith, is that people start connecting. Oh, I need to connect you. And collaborations have happened. People have done business with each other. It's amazing. It's amazing. People really look forward to coming there. So I don't know what to say. If you want to start one in your town, go for it. I mean, you'd be surprised if you're willing to put the work to put a community together. I just put in the private chat, but if you wanted to watch that later or whatever, they did a nice piece on us, and
I might connect to the
I'm
person
one.
who did it. Who did it? Who was the person who did the piece?
Her name is Chris. She was actually a TV anchor, TV personality here in the Atlanta area, and she used to do producing everything. So, remember, Keith, you told me that there's a certain profile of people you look for that while they're at a certain time in their life, they do it for years, and then later on they get out of the industry because their life moves forward. They have kids and children, and so it's that type of person that did that piece on us. Now what they want to do, they told me they want to take this piece because they're going to pitch something at a TV station, and they want to pitch all what we're doing to the TV station. I think they want to do some segment around entrepreneurship. So we'll see where it goes.
I love this. I love it. I love it. Do they have one in Atlanta? Oh, sorry, Alabama. Do they have one?
They have one in Atlanta. Oh, I don't know about I'll check. You go to 1millioncups.com. I'll check right now.
What do you think? Hello, Leslie. Jump in if you want to speak. Do you have a 1 million cups in your town? Well, I don't think we have them here. It's a good idea. How does it differ from BNI?
Oh, totally different. Totally different. Because anybody can come and it's free. It doesn't cost anybody anything.
And there's no obligation. You don't have to come and write a letter from your mum if you get sick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me see Alabama.
That is interesting. I've never heard of them. 1 million cups.
Yeah, 1 million cups.
Oh, yeah. It's an amazing, they'll put you through the training, which isn't that bad, and they're there to support because you know what? You're going to build relationships one coffee at a time. You're building relationships.
Do you have in the US a concept called LinkedIn Local?
Yes, I know that. I want to start one in my
Me
area.
too. That sounds fun.
I think this was actually started by a person in Coffs Harbour, Australia. And yeah, I think
really?
it was. I think she said, look, wouldn't it be great if all the people who are on LinkedIn anyway are in this town and we can just meet up at the coffee shop? And she coined this phrase, LinkedIn Local. I think it's an Australian person. And so it's a very similar idea. The only premise is that you have to be on LinkedIn. That's the only criteria. If you're on LinkedIn, you can come and people connect on LinkedIn. That's a very good idea, LinkedIn Local. So 1 million cups is obviously a similar idea, but maybe a little bit more formalized.
Some of the people might not be on LinkedIn. This could be somebody who started a dog sitting business. In fact, one of our speakers coming up is going to be this older lady who is so cute, and she says, I don't know if I could be qualified, but you qualify. You qualify. This type of person we want. Look, I'll tell you this. There are times that the speakers make people cry in the audience. That's the type of community we've built. It is such a cool, good, and uplifting community that's why people come, because you know what? We're here for each other.
Yeah.
100% for each other. We're not competing. We're trying to find ways we can work together.
And just for those who don't know, how does that differ from online networking for you, Bez, as a person who loves to press the flesh, so to speak?
See, because in IRL, it's sort of a lot like virtual, right? You look at people, you build trust, you build a relationship. Now, one is virtual, one is in real life. You can do the same with both. Now, I'm a people person, right? So, I'm one of those that I'm a hugger, right? Now, not everybody likes me to hug them. I may get a slap or I may get a punch in the nose. I haven't yet, but that's me. I love to shake hands and kiss a few babies. But see, that's just me. That's my personality.
Yeah, but for someone who doesn't like in-person stuff? Is there a point to it that goes over and above for me it's unpleasant. Like I would not do it. I don't like it. But is there a reason to do it?
Okay. I think there is, because I think, let's say you're an introvert, right? I always tell my extrovert friends, you need to network more like an introvert, because introverts know how to, and 1 Million Cups doesn't even want us to use the word network, even though we're doing it. They want to use building relationships. Okay, I get it. Whatever. We'll go by your rules. Okay, so what introverts do really good is they go and focus on one person, and that's it. And they get to know that person. And that person gets to know them. Look, if you as an individual, even as an extrovert, operated or moved like an introvert, imagine how deep you could go with somebody and how wonderful relationship you could develop with that person. So I think there's a place. I think introverts can teach us how to develop relationships a lot better than extroverts. So you have a superpower. You may know it, you may not know it, but I think showing up to some place and trying to talk to a bunch of people doesn't really fill you, because you never went deep with anybody. What fills you is when you walk away and you really got to know at least one person. That's enough. That's a win. Anyways, that's my take.
That would be how I would do it. Like I would go. I want to share this story, which probably makes me sound like a mongrel, but my sister is like the extrovert's extrovert. She invited her hairdresser to the wedding, right? And so we had 12 people at our wedding, and she had like 120. And when her second child was christened, she had 120 people in the backyard. And I'm thinking, oh no, I have to go because she's my sister. Have to go. So I said, look, can you give me a list of, say, the top 10 people that I might have something in common with? Just bounce around, Keith. Just bounce around. Yeah. But can't you give me a bit of a heads up? Is there a guy that's in tech, or a girl that's got a web design company, or a photographer, or someone who likes travel, or someone who's a foodie or a vegetarian? Can you give me something? I just don't want to get stuck on someone talking about their poodle or their 3 grandchildren. I don't want to get stuck in those conversations because I'm hopeless at being polite about getting rid of them. And so I thought, I don't want to get stuck in the corner with someone who's got 3 grandchildren and can't wait to tell me all the photos of this 5-year-old. And she was offended. She says, you are my brother, Keith. Everyone in this room will talk to you because you are my brother. You have an instant advantage. I said, I know they'll talk to me, and that's lovely, but I just don't want to get stuck with some work-at-home mum that's got 3 kids doing a cleaning business on the weekend. I don't want to have that conversation. But I'm happy to chat to someone who's got a web design company, or someone who's really into playing guitar, or give me a heads up. And we had a big fight. And she said, why can't you just walk up to people out of nowhere and just start talking? I said, I don't want to get stuck. And the reason I know that is because I've done these events and I got stuck sitting in the corner with this guy who just wants to go on and on and on about his pigeons or his greyhounds or, something. And I'm thinking, look, this is all right. I don't want to be a bastard. I'll just listen for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Look, I've got to go, man. I've got to put some money in the meter. Can you let me out? So, introverts hate this shit. We just hate it. And so there's got to be a reason for me to do it. There'd have to be an ROI. There'd have to be a tangible benefit that I can write down. Otherwise, I'm not going. But you might be right. I might be missing out. I might be missing out on some really cool things. Leslie has joined the call. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Leslie. I've just given away a really big trade secret. I know I feel like a mongrel now, but what's your take on 1 Million Cups and LinkedIn Local and interviewing or chatting to people in person? What's your take? Jump in.
Well, hello, everyone. I had not planned on this. I just happened to cross your event and find them always interesting. I trust you can hear me. Just want to make sure.
Yes, we can
Okay,
hear you.
thank you. Okay, so I think what you were talking about, Keith, is the last thing you said was the real nugget. You see, sometimes we don't know when we are being patient and listening to someone who just wants to be heard. And it does eat up our time. And it has to do with valuing our time. But very often, we've attracted certain people to us. And sitting there patiently may reveal something, as you pointed out. Also, it's also you got to create a tight boundary in advance. So there should never be a reason where you're stuck, like what you're talking about. That is, it has to do with your valuing your own time. So in that respect, you put plan B into action, and you're a guy. I mean, I learned about plan B from men.
Yeah.
So you have to have an escape route ready. The reason I came in was because I looked at the title, Why Do I Use LinkedIn? And
Yeah.
I use it in a different way, I think, than a lot of people. Um, I I teach. I have a lot of background in a lot of experience and evidence, and deep study in a number of areas, with the results that are long and consistent. And I can't write books fast enough to get what I know after deep study out there. So I have a couple of lives, Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's about mindset. And so I teach on Friday the principles of success and different views from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Mondays, I do Mind Over Matter Mondays, where I bring in experts that have different mindset ways of managing our thoughts and our points of view. Yes, professional development would be a fair. That I believe I was one of the few of the 9 that picked it for that. It's really about inspiring others. And so over the last year and a half, there has come a group of people that come to both Mondays to get their minds thinking and observing and selecting which points of view we're going to share that day rather than being in fear. And then that holds us through the week. And then Friday we meet and do the same thing on lives. It's kind of just grown on its own. So I don't sell anything. I'm in a place right now. I sold all my life. Right now, I was a very good salesperson, but I'm done with it. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to live a meager, happy life without the pressure of selling. Right? It's
Without
a
the hustle.
chore.
You don't need to
It
hustle
is.
anymore.
It is. It's the hustle and the hassle. I'm done with it. So LinkedIn is a place where I've found the highest emotional intelligence level than any of the other platforms. So far, this is where people who actually do some real thinking gather. Facebook is a disaster. Instagram, I like to look at my grandkids' pictures, but basically conversation, writing, creating content, lives, and collaborations are easier here. And I stay on one platform because time is so valuable. When the audio rooms went away about almost a year ago, people jumped ship like rats jumping off a ship. I mean, honestly, even before we knew what was coming or gave it a chance or gave it 30 days to see, there was a fear of missing out. So, but what happened when that happened and they all left for different platforms to invest their time, they dissipated or almost dissolved a lot of the community here. So there's still a strong live community, and that's where I live and play. And it satisfies me to inspire people, and I get a big kick out of it when people have their aha moments, and I see the same people week after week after week. It's just lovely. So thanks for letting me
I love
expound.
what you've said there, because you've said a couple of things. You said a very key phrase: "I can't write books fast enough." So you've got you're like me. We've got so much to say, so much to share, so much to do,
Mhm.
that the live experience is our format. It's the format that because things are changing so fast. And have you found that the live experience here on LinkedIn is the best way that you can get the word out and build a community? I'd love to hear that experience, because this is what we talk about a lot.
Okay, good. Well, first of all, you brought up that word experience, and I have been running 12-week sessions teaching different views of Napoleon Hill's Principles of Success. I've got 20,000 hours teaching it. It's been 17 years, all kinds of results. So I know that stuff inside and out. Now I've just every 12 weeks I come up with a different viewpoint, but this last 12 weeks, and I'm on week 10 this Friday, I decided to make it an experience. You use this word, and I created my first intro and outro, and just stepped up, and it's called Oration, Saga, and Song. So everything is based on 100 years ago and what was life like with Napoleon Hill. So we would do a particular principle. I would read an oration of a particular story that everybody could get the concept very easily. And then there'd be a couple of points of lessons. And then I do a 3-minute visualization of and this is where I've used AI to develop the muscle of imagination. It grows in direct proportion to its use, and it's pretty well underused. And it's required for visualization, which is the DNA of manifestation. So our imagination is vital to living the life that we really enjoy. And so well, that was kind of lost where I was going. I went off on a tangent. Okay, so anyway, then we do a 3-minute visualization, and I'll usually put up a black and white picture. We've done the World's Fair, the train going to the World's Fair, and then they all relax and visualize 100 years ago, and it's keeping in time. And the song I sing, I open every show of my shows with a song. I've gone to 40s and 50s musicals and what are they, torch songs, because I'm a singer. And so I do the intro, which begins the experience. Then I sing something from the 40s or 50s as people are coming in. Then I acknowledge everybody. So I've got like this actual show. And then at the end, I've made an outro. So, Keith, to your point, it is, I've moved to an experience more than a simple live. And I've had a lot of fun doing that.
Let's pick up on this word experience. You heard it, you got it.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
lot of people don't actually understand what that word means, but I've been to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of boring video webinars that are 45-minute pitch, and then there's this little bit of selling at the end, and they're intolerably boring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can get the person involved, which is what I'm trying to do with imagery and bringing people on stage, and you just missed my 1940s version of our theme song. I'll play it in a minute again, with a trumpet solo.
Oh.
So we're trying to be very engaging, and we're trying to make this very, very real for people. It's not knowledge that is flat.
Yes. And
I'm
there's
not a,
something else. Let
yeah.
me tell you something
Yeah.
else that I do on my Monday show. So for a long time, it was me and a sidekick, but I pretty well drained myself with these people with everything I knew about mind. I'm a mindset geek, and that's my area of expertise. And really, it's becoming an agile thinker. It's the ability to select which point of view from our experience I want to share rather than reacting based on my 6 basic fears. But what I'm doing now on Monday is bringing people in that have different ways of stepping into managing our thoughts so that whatever resonates the most, right, you can pick and choose what you want. Um, Now, there's an intro for that, but there was something I wanted to share with you about that. Oh, damn it! Now I've lost it, and I interrupted you too. So please forgive me. Uh,
I'll try and get you back on track.
oh, I know what it is.
Yes, there it is.
I know what it is. Is and you. This is powerful, and I do this in both. But on Monday, the first 25 minutes is acknowledging every person in the room and who they are for me. Because what I learned a long time ago is the way you see me seems to always be a little bit better than I see myself. And we need to be acknowledged. Some people don't have anybody. So what that does is, so when the guest comes on now, it's about 10:25, which gives us 35 minutes for content. And then if you go back and listen, I tell people just sail through the first half because that's all acknowledgement, every single person, who they are for me, what I know about them. And I introduce them to my guests. So I bring the guest on. I want my guests to know these people that come every week the way I do. And so that's another thing to engage people. People are almost desperate and deliciously, they just invite you telling them about the great things about them. People don't hear that enough. And there is greatness in everyone if you can teach yourself to only look for it. But our default seems to be, in general, what's wrong, not what's right. So I have found that's a very big part of my Monday show. People get filled up with who they are in the world. And then we have some content. And then I have a beautiful new intro and outro that I had Aaron Gibson make for me. So it's leveling up or bumping up the engagement, the experience, and letting people feel heard and loved. Because honestly, this could be the only time anybody says something nice to them the whole day, right?
I love this. I want everyone to pick up on this idea of acknowledging your community, because we're all in this together. I don't know everything, and I learn much more from you than I can ever teach. And I love doing these. I love doing them because I learn so much. Lynn, do you resonate with the idea of acknowledging your community when you have an event? Do you call out the people that are making comments and sharing some of their insights as well?
Yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful thing about community. You know, give back to them. You know, help to build one another up. I love that. That's beautiful.
Americo, if you're back, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. One thing we're finding with Restream particularly is there's about a 2-minute lag between when someone makes a comment and we see it, unless we're watching the YouTube or the LinkedIn stream, in which case there's a huge time lag, which really affects our ears. So I don't watch the LinkedIn version. I watch the Restream version. Are you finding that too, Americo? What's your take on acknowledging the comments? It's hard to do as a host, but how do you do it? And what's your take on it?
It does vary. There are days that are better than others. 2 minutes is probably the longest lag I've experienced. Typically 10, 15 seconds is the norm. But I'd love to add how Leslie's words and Leslie's sentiment around community and what she does to acknowledge her community, it is I've had the opportunity to jump on some of her calls, and it is quite the experience, just as she describes. And it circles back to where we started this conversation around community versus audience. And she has perfected the acknowledgement and the whole premise of creating an experience, and not just to treat those who show up as just an audience. She is exemplary and well aligned with today's conversation. Leslie, it's a pleasure to hear and have you join us.
Thank you. And you just acknowledged me. And I have to tell you, it's always not easy to be acknowledged, but you just made me feel so good, which further confirms that if I feel this good with those few words that you just shared with me, like I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight, then imagine what happens with your whole community when they're seen. I think people really just want you to see them, just to see me, right? And I, like I said, I spend 25, sometimes 30 minutes, depending on how. And I thought, I've gone longer. I've done 90 minutes, too long. I mean, I just make it work, right? Where the first half is acknowledgement. And these are people that come every week. So like there's a camaraderie. They get introduced to the host or to the guest. And then I encourage them to at least follow each other. Start there. Make sure that because we're all thinking kind of the same way. So thank you, Americo. That is so lovely.
You're welcome. And it's it's funny. We may articulate it in different words, in different formats, but very similar to the mindset and the mantra that I'm building around my personal brand of being seen, heard, and remembered. And not just for myself, but for my community, and sharing my stage and sharing my community with others so that they too can be seen, heard, and remembered. And it's almost as if we can now add a fourth dynamic: be acknowledged.
Yeah, be acknowledged. Yeah.
Well, just come. I have featured on my profile. The Mind Over Matter Mondays when I do the major acknowledgement, and it's featured. So just go to the last one and you'll see how I create, this acknowledgement, and it takes a lot of practice. And plus you've got comments, and I don't have a remote producer, so I have to do this all myself, and it's hard to not miss someone. I do my best, right, to get everybody in and tell them who they are for me. And I'm honest when I haven't done my homework, and I keep saying the same things about the same person, or, the person that comes every week. And so then I will go out and look at their profile again so that I could add something new. So I really know, right, these people, and they know me. I mean, they get to hear me sing. I sing every show because I can and I want to. So, anyway, I'm so glad you stopped in. Thank you. So sweet.
You're very welcome. We are navigating this sort of tech. Americo, I'm interested. Well, I've had some comments from the community, not only today, but periodically, that, mate, I make comments, but you never call me out. And just in case you don't know, running a show by yourself is very, very complex. And I'm just interested in how you do that, Americo. We had a show last Friday, for instance, and there was quite a few comments in the show. I'm just wondering, how do you get to them all in time? How do you manage them? I got you there, Americo.
Let me
jump in, Bez. Yeah,
Let me jump in here.
Yep.
Yeah, I love what Leslie was saying about acknowledging people. And I love what Americo's doing: be seen, be heard, be remembered. People do yearn for that, right? And Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, what the work you're doing, Leslie, is wonderful. It's probably one of the earlier books that I've ever read, but it's impactful, right? There they talk about the mastermind principle. And one of the things that, if you heard, I don't know if you were listening, what I was saying about the 1 million cups, but the thing that makes the community stick, like they tell us the format, but we've been experimenting and we've noticed that in the first 20 minutes, we go around the room and make sure everybody's introduced, that they tell us who they are, what their business is. We ask them, what is your ask or your give? And I've been bringing a box of affirmations. So at when people are signing in, say, hey, grab an affirmation, tell us your affirmation, and you introduce yourself. So that the stickiness to the community is that, and the reason people come back, because man, people know who I am. I get to introduce myself. I am seen. I am acknowledged. I am heard. And there's something to that that makes people feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And then what happens is when someone introduces themselves, the other person across the room says, oh, I need to talk to so-and-so. I think like to learn more about them, or maybe there's something a collaboration we can do. And you don't have to force the magic. The magic happens on its own, but you have to foster it by allowing it to breathe.
There is something about what you're saying about what's going on in the room. And I'm not sure, this keeps dropping, so I'm not sure you can hear me. But it's rather like a tuning fork for that person who's across the room. If you're focused on something and you're lit up by what you're working on, and you go into a networking community, you're going to be focused on. I know what it did. It kicked us off. I think it kicked us off. Are we done?
We can hear you. It's dropping in and out. It's dropping in and out. That's a pity. But you are right. I mean, if you can go to an event and you talk passionately about what you do, people will pick it up. I think Leslie's having some trouble there. I'll bring her back in a minute. It's true, isn't it, Bez?
Oh yeah, it's magic. If you can give magic an opportunity to breathe, it'll happen on its own. You don't have to force it. You just have to give it space, right? So what we do is we go around, we have 60 minutes. We spend about 20, 25 of those minutes making sure everybody's introduced and they're heard. Then we go into we only ask one presenter instead of two. We've gone to one presenter, and then Q&A. And then we wrap up on the back end and people can have coffee and things. But to me, what makes the community sticky is that first part where everybody is heard and acknowledged and introduced, and they share their ask, or they give their give, and or nothing. Maybe they just introduce themselves and that's good enough. Some people are introverts, but I've noticed over time they come out of their shell. They keep coming back. You know why? Because they feel safe. They feel comfortable. So you know what Leslie was saying, America, these things matter, right? Because you're never going to be. Here's what I've heard of other communities in the 1 million cups, and this is not unique to 1 million cups. We have 9 organizers. I work really hard to make sure that it's not about the organizers. It's about the people that show up, but I do acknowledge the organizer because they do a lot of behind the scenes. I have heard in other communities that it's all about the organizers and they thump their chest and it's pretty much all about them. That doesn't resonate with people, right? They don't come back for that. They come back for the community that uplifts them, supports them, and makes them feel like they're at home. So I'm just going to land it there. Leslie, you're doing great work. Keep on doing what you're doing. It matters. And hopefully one of these days I can come and join and check out your live stream.
Oh, I'd love that. Let's do that for sure.
We this is a fantastic discussion, and amazingly, I was a bit surprised by this. About 40% of people use LinkedIn for personal branding, and I'm just wondering: is there room for a "me first, I'm here, look at me" type of strategy if you're thinking about the community? Are they mutually exclusive, or how do they work together? How do you build a personal brand and focus on community at the same time? Aren't they mutually exclusive?
Yeah. Look, you gotta throw out you, but when you throw out and you're making it about someone else, you're actually building your personal brand. See, your personal brand isn't the attention to you. It's how you show up and how people talk about you when you're not in the room, right? Like every breath you take, you're building your personal brand. If you're a mean person, that's your personal brand. If you're a kind person, if you're giving of your time, if you're helpful, if you're smart, there's so many things about you that's your brand that people know you by. And you don't know that it's your
I love
brand
this.
because you're thinking of other
I
things.
love this discussion
but
because
yeah.
we've been told, probably by the personal branding gurus, that you've got to have a great image, a great website, a great spiel, a great presence. But the truth is that you're right. A personal brand might be, well, you know, Keith, he's not a bad bloke. He lives in Australia. He talks funny, but he has these funky shows on Restream. That's my personal brand. I don't have to tell you that because I'm doing it. I don't have to have a funky photo of me in a suit in the city for you to know that. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And by doing what I'm doing, I'm building my brand, aren't I? I'm building it by action. And this is what you're saying, isn't it? We build our brand by acting.
Yeah, but you're being very gracious in how you're describing yourself, but you also, in developing your brand, you're giving people space to speak, be heard, right? Be acknowledged. You are great at going around the room and saying, "Hey, Bez, hey, Leslie, hey, Lynn, hey, Americo, what do you think?" Right? I know you as someone who shares the mic. Now, if look, Keith, I told you a long time ago that when I met you on Twitter, there was somebody else that wanted me to show up to their community and they were trying to recruit me. I don't know why. I mean, I was just like, I actually liked them. I resonated with that group. I liked them, but I came on your show. You were very welcoming. You would share the microphone. You were kind. You would ask me questions. I'm like, oh, okay.
Everyone gets a turn.
See, I chose you. Now I only had so much time, and they kept asking me come. But I was like, I like Keith's vibes better. He shares the mic. He shares it with others. He makes sure everyone is heard. I like that vibe, and I started coming to your show. So you, at a deeper level, actually have something people appreciate because you are about the community, not so much yourself. Yeah, you're building your personal brand along the way, but you're a decent human being. And that's what people say, hey, Leslie, myself, Lynn, Americo can come on your show and you give us some space. And you know what? People appreciate that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've been a bit challenged lately by LinkedIn becoming Instagram. I'm actually going to do an experiment this week. Do guys take selfies? I want to know. Do guys take selfies? I can't find any guys doing selfies. Right?
Man, you're going to make me take a selfie.
I'm gonna deliberately follow more guys this week to have this conversation. Do guys take selfies? And the bigger question is, and this is the question we're really asking: does a selfie build your brand? It's just a photo of you. We know what you look like. We're aware of your appearance, but does it build your brand? Other than we know what you're doing. I don't know if it does. It builds awareness.
The selfie is very cosmetic. And one thing I learned although with many of us with good intentions feel that we're building our brand by sharing how much we know about something. And the lesson that I had learned, and I share with everyone who is willing to listen, it's intent versus impact. Although our intentions are the right intentions, we want to educate, we got to be mindful of how our intentions are being perceived, consumed by our communities. My good intentions could come across as being, well, look at that arrogant SOB trying to, pump his own tires and try to build a community. So it's about making it less about yourself, to Bez's point. So although
Let's pick
we
up on
might
this.
have
Intention versus impact. Intention versus
intention versus impact.
What a great discussion. What are you thinking, Bez?
Okay, intention versus impact. What was the question again?
We're talking about the idea of whether or not selfies by themselves build a brand, and the idea that having the intention to be known, does it create an impact, right? And I don't know if it does. Being famous for your own sake doesn't help anyone, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. And whether it's a selfie or whether it is just, feeding our what some would say, feeding our egos by sharing how much we know and how much we want to bestow on others through the social media landscape. Those intentions could be the right intentions for us personally, but our audience will spit that out because we're not being genuine, or they're not perceiving what we're doing or what we're saying as valuable. So the impact for our audience is limiting, and that's where our audience only becomes an audience and does not want to be part of the community because our intentions are being misunderstood or misinterpreted. Where if we peel it back and make it less and understand how to best articulate our intentions without sounding egotistical or full of ourselves, that's when your audience becomes or starts to become part of your community, because it's no longer about me pounding my chest, me trying to instill what I believe is the only way of doing things. And I'm just hypothesizing here because I don't think I come across that way. But
you do not. Definitely do not.
I know that even with, very meticulous and surgical planning, that I can still, and all of us can still come across and not be everyone's cup of tea. And that's just the reality. That's how the human race works. You can be the kindest of persons, and someone is going to have an opposing thought on what
this
we're saying.
Is the fundamental reason why I love LinkedIn. There is, I think I heard Bez say 1.2. I better get this new stat. 1.2 billion users on LinkedIn. Not everyone on LinkedIn is going to be awake when I'm awake. Not everyone in LinkedIn is going to want to come to my show. And not everyone on LinkedIn is going to want to come and speak on my show. But because there's a big pool of talent, we can have very diverse shows. America, think about what happened here. Yesterday, we had someone calling in who's never spoken before, and she spoke on her earbuds and sounded quite fine. And she spoke very articulately, and I didn't know her. I met a new person. That show had a completely different energy to today, where Leslie spoke, who normally doesn't. And Sue spoke, I don't think has ever spoken on this show before. So every time we do a show, we get a slightly different flavor. Even if the topic sort of rounds around to the same ideas, everyone's got a slightly different take. This is why I fundamentally love LinkedIn. I fundamentally love it. 1 billion people, that's plenty, isn't it? That's really representative of the world. It's representative. It's not everyone in the world, but there's 15 million Aussies on LinkedIn. 250 250 million Americans on LinkedIn, 25 million Canadians. It's indicative of what's going on in Canada. Would you agree that this is a sort of a bit of a little bit of a nutshell idea of what's going on in Ontario, or is Ontario a unique ecosystem different to this?
Well, there's I think this exists in all geographies, but Ontario has this perception from the rest of the country that they are the backbone of the entire country. Yeah, per capita, it can be backed up. Ontario drives the Canadian economy, but it's not to say that the rest of the country doesn't have its place and its worth, because it does. When I traveled for work across the country, I would be embarrassed sometimes to say where I was from, because I know how big some of the egos are in Toronto. And I enjoyed working and immersing myself with different Canadians and understanding how different we are as a country. But yes, you ask anyone outside of Ontario, and they will have an opinion of what Ontario is like. What some people in Ontario, not everyone. Ontario is a great place. Listen, I'm not here to talk it down, but we do have. There are some stereotypes and there are some thoughts that Ontario could be a better citizen and portray itself better to its counterparts in different provinces and different regions. If that was your question.
Did we lose him?
It's 3+ hours.
Yeah.
We lost him.
We've hit the end of the road.
I want to share something with you guys. We were talking about, there was something on LinkedIn not on LinkedIn, on Facebook, I saw about the 80s. And it was really interesting, but the message was deep, very deep if you really listen to it. And I want you guys to listen because the conversation today was amazing. So let me play it. Okay, let me see if I can get it going here. And can you hear it?
No.
Did you hear it when I played it? Let's try again. Did you hear that?
Sounds.
Are you guys hearing
I
that?
heard steps.
Oh, you didn't
I
hear?
didn't hear
Okay, so
anything.
you're not hearing it. Okay.
Am I back? Am I back?
You're back.
Yes.
You are back.
I'm going to take October off because I'm going to fix this internet problem. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to pull apart. I'm probably going to have to rewire the house. But the reason why I'm very inspired by what you're doing, Americo, is that you live in Ontario and you want to drive to your clients. So it's very important to understand the geography, the physicality of Canada. So how far are you prepared to go? Would you go to Manitoba? Would you go to Alberta? I mean, where do you think? I really want to play this out because I'm very big on visualization. I know you can go to Ontario. I know Quebec is the adjacent province. You could probably go to New York, maybe some other places. But how far do you want to travel for this idea? Because I want everyone in our community to help you do this. We're really here for you. So let's play it out. Let's visualize where you're going to be, where this road takes you.
So I say we start small and keep it, within an hour's radius. And an hour's radius could take me to upstate New York, could take me just outside of the Greater Toronto area, could take me just north of Barrie. And let's see where that goes. Now, if I'm traveling willingly, like I'm planning this trip to Florida, then that just becomes part of my baggage, and I'm going to bring the show on the road, and wherever I lay my hat, that'll be my home. I'm going to take that philosophy, and wherever anyone's willing to welcome me while I'm on the road, I'll try to make it a point to stop and make this magic come to life.
Hey, come by where I live. I live in Northeast Georgia. On your way down to Florida,
Well,
stop by and just break some bread.
we were talking about that. So my last attempt was we did I-95 coming down, and then we did 75 coming up. So it would probably be the tail leg of the trip. Because
No. So I would be. You'd catch me on 9. I believe 9.
You're closer to 95 than 75.
Yeah, because I'm closer. I'm the
I drive through Georgia and both,
85.
right? Going.
Yeah, I would think so. Let me look at a map. Like, give me a second. But yeah, you can come. We'll make sure that we'll treat you to some Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get some cornbread and biscuits and
It's barbecue.
and some good bourbon. Yeah, barbecue. Actually, in my town, or right in the town right next to my town, the Food Network had a barbecue pit king, like a show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching it, that show just finished. The guy in my town, he has a place called Blue Hound Barbecue. The best. He won the show.
Oh wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, Blue Hound Barbecue. If you want to come have barbecue from Canada to a place that's award winning, I can hook you up, my friend.
Awesome.
Unless you don't like food or barbecue, then that's okay. It might not be your thing.
Oh, I like food.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
One of the
And I gotta
highlights
tell
of
people
traveling
quit
is the
feeding me.
eating. The different food you can get. I've posted a photo here, a map of Canada. I didn't know that it was this big, but look how big it is, man. You could spend all day driving and still not finish.
that's right. You can spend the whole day driving in Ontario and not get out of Ontario. So it's pretty big. So from Toronto, just north of Toronto, just from Toronto to Ottawa, depending on how fast you drive, it's about a 3.5 hour drive if you're following the.
Why don't we focus on that bit, Toronto to Ottawa?
So Toronto to Ottawa, and then once you're in Ottawa, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Quebec. So it is a wonderful drive. Going east, going west, Western Canada is beautiful, but the prairies, the flatlands, it is one of the most boring drives known to man. I would rather fly to Alberta and then drive from there. So once you're back in the mountains, and the landscapes are just beautiful. Now,
The reason why I do this is I'm a very visual person. So now that I know that we want to start with Toronto to Ontario, like I've got a very big network. Toronto to Ottawa. I've got a very big network in a town I can't pronounce called Mississauga. Is that how you say it? Mississauga?
yeah, Mississauga. Yeah.
And Bez, do you know why that's a very important town?
Why?
The most famous band in the world comes from there.
Rush.
So
Yeah.
and we're 2 hours in. I can say this: the headquarters of Walmart Canada are in Mississauga. So I love visualization. I've set a visualization that one day I'm going to open the door and there'll be a Rode mic, a Rode Pod mic USB, and a Rodecaster Duo sitting at my doorstep with a little message. Thank you. We love your show. Can you test this out for us? I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm just going to tell the universe what I want. And one day it will happen. So Mississauga, so famous for two things, Walmart and brush. So that's pretty cool. So we can start there. Toronto to Ottawa. Now that I know that, I'll just keep working my magic. And I said today that we've got friends in Barrie and Brampton and other towns there. And you can just pick and choose. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. The missus is from Brampton. She knows Brampton really well.
What do you imagine? What I'm really interested in is, and I don't know if we've played this out, what do you imagine talking about and what format do you imagine creating on your road trip?
Well, that's the beauty. I don't know what will come out of this. People may embrace it, but you know what? Let's just keep this to audio. Or people are going to be curious. What are you going to do? How are you going to repurpose this conversation? Because that'll probably be the biggest question. I'll be collecting all this data and all this content to come back to and repurpose.
As an audio, you're not going to grab a video recorder?
Well, I can log into Restream and use my mobile device's camera.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Or I can plug into my laptop and use the camera. I can bring the whole bag of gear with me, but my aspirations as to what I want to accomplish and my goals might not align with the people who I encounter. It's like, oh, I wasn't really prepared for this.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
safer to do audio only, isn't it?
right.
Yeah. Well, as I said, you may not know this, Bez, but the actual Zoom P4 can take 512 gigabytes of sound, and 1 minute of audio is 1 megabyte. So that's 512,000 minutes, which is 3 years. So you won't run out. You could travel the world, and you miss this very, very important reference, Bez, but we based on the photo and based on Americo's image, we are channeling the Forrest Gump run here. I don't know if you've seen Forrest Gump and the big run he did, but he gets to the top of the hill after running for a year and he goes, I think I've had enough. And in that exact moment, he looks like Americo, doesn't he? I mean, there's a bit of synergy there. The Forrest Gump run. I might actually try and find that reference. Do you know what I mean, Bez? Have you seen Forrest Gump? Have you seen it, Lynn? You've seen that movie, Forrest Gump?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So
Love it.
he gets to the top of the hill and he says, you know what? I think I've had enough.
Yeah.
And he's got a big crowd of people following him behind him. What do you mean? We're into this. You're our hero. Yeah, I think I might just go home. See my mum.
So I don't think Robert's on the call any longer. I think I remember seeing a text that he would bid us a good night. But he mentioned earlier, it's like, hey, here's an opportunity to see if you can get your trip sponsored. Reach out to car dealers or rentals. See if someone's willing to support you and fund you in some shape or form. I don't know if I have enough time to put that together because the trip is only in a few weeks. My guess is I'm not big enough of a influence that someone's going to say, you know what, come stay with us. Come rest your head at our hotel on your way down, wherever your stop is. We'll comp you. Just share your story. Make us part of your journey, your narrative.
Maybe not part 1. Might be series 2.
Yeah.
The thing is that the authenticity factor of being like one of my favorite shows ever is Schitt's Creek. What a great show.
Oh, I
Oh
love Schitt's
gosh,
Creek.
love it.
And, imagine if you turned up to that hotel, which actually was set in Canada. I think it was made in Ontario, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And you imagine you turn up to this town and you stay at that hotel. Well, they'd be happy to have you. And so I love that show. And I love that sort of whole vibe of creating a sort of industry out of camper, motel rooms. And so this could be a story to tell. So this is why I ask if you've got a vision, because if you wanted to have a video that adds extra cost and a lot more editing, but I don't think I've ever heard a podcast about road tripping. I might not just know about it, but imagine a road trip podcast. Here I am. Today I'm in Pensacola, and yes, it's a real town, and they do have groundhogs. And we're just going to hang out at the cafe. And here's the owner of the cafe. Or you go to Hill Valley, if that's a real town. I like the sound of that. You go and visit the cleaner who becomes mayor. And so I don't know, but the point is that content is there to be used, and we're now entering it. We're entering a different zone. Like if we compare what Leslie was saying about acknowledging the audience, and we compare it to what we've been subjected to, and that's the right word, these boring videos that go 45 minutes and then there's a pitch at the end. We are all sick of those 1 hour videos that are just basically a glorified sales spiel. It's not content really. It's just an ad. We are now as consumers more interested in the story. Sure, we visit something and you can buy from them, but that's not the point. Would you agree, Bez, that are we entering a sort of a story zone as opposed to a sales zone? As a salesperson, as a hunter, do you resonate with the idea of hearing a story and then possibly buying the products, or do you prefer to just be sold to?
It depends. I love a good story, but I also love to be sold to, right? Like, because I honor the sales profession, so I want to see how good they are. Now, most people that come in somewhere, they've already done their research, so you got to figure out what the need is, what's that pain point. So I think stories can help you sell, but you sort of have to feel that out. Is this person want to listen to your story, or they just want to get in and go out? And can you help them with what they need right now? So that's a skill in itself.
I mentioned before, I'll mention it here. This is a very good story to tell, and then I might wrap up because I've been having some tech problems, and we've been going 3.5 hours, which is not a record, but it's getting there. I wanted to tell you, Bez, there was this amazing person in New York that I was very brave and said, look, I'm going to sell everything, and I'm going from here to New York, to LA, and I'm going to take a video every day of my journey. I'm an actress and I want to act, but if I go to LA as an actress, I'm just in a pool of other actresses that want to act. It's a very, very common thing. How am I going to stand out? So she created this YouTube channel called The Road to Hollywood. Unbelievably brave person. So what she did was she sold everything, and on day one she goes, here it is, I got the video camera, and I'm getting in the car and I'm leaving today. And the basic rules of this show is I have to go to a town I've never been before and get a gig with a person that I don't know in the acting world. Right? And I can't leave that town until I get a gig, even if I have to stay 4 weeks. And eventually I'll end up in LA and I'll have this pool, this list of acting gigs I've done, right? Really big challenge. So it's called The Road to LA. I'm going to find it in a minute. So basically she'd go to Boston and she goes, okay, I've arrived in Boston and I found someone who's agreed to put me on the couch, and I cannot leave Boston until I get a gig in the acting game. I'm not going to work in a bar. I'm not working at the coffee shop. I've got to get an acting gig, and I'm not leaving until I do. And, day 2, I had an audition today. I think I might have got it. And if I get it, I'll be able to do this little acting gig on the weekend, and then I'll be able to go. to the next town. And then it was unbelievable. Like, it was unbelievably brave. And subsequently, I'm still talking about it now. And when she got to LA, she had like about 50 videos demonstrating her story. So that when people said, what have you been doing? Well, the last 6 months I've been traveling around and here's my video. It got her instant kudos because she was in the zone, right? Because a friend of mine who's an actor too, she went to an audition. And this is exactly what happened. The guy said, look, don't act. Just show me a YouTube channel. What do you mean? Well, two things. One is I want to find out how many people you've got subscribed. And second of all, I'll be able to tell if you're any good by your reels. You don't have to actually act in real life on stage in this room. Give me your YouTube channel. She goes, well, that's cheating. No, it's not cheating. Everyone's got a YouTube channel. And if you're any good, it'll all be there. And if you're any good, I'll call you back. Well, I haven't really spent much time on my YouTube channel, but I can act. Well, how do I know that? Well, if you let me speak, I would read some lines to you. Yeah, well, that's 20th century thinking, man. We've got to get with the times. I want people who have got a YouTube channel that's thumping it with reels on it. This is a true story. Like this, she was really heartbroken. Didn't get the gig because she didn't have a YouTube channel. So we live in a different world now. And as much as we talk about this in-person networking, the world of business runs on the internet. Do you resonate with this, Americo? Do you think you can sort of rip this up into some sort of ongoing journey? Maybe as a SoundCloud account or a Spotify journey or a podcast, the social audio round trip, or something like that?
Well, here's, like, if we were to take a look at a snapshot of where I am today and where I started a year plus ago, I would say anything is possible. Because a year ago, what I was talking about is no longer what I'm talking about today. And whether it happened by accident or whether it was just my purpose and people and let me rephrase that, my community has brought to light where I should be and what value I mean to them through what I'm doing. I would say it's quite possible that this could become something, because I'm now rebranding. And while, all the things I love to do and all the value I can still bring are still in my back pocket, like those skills and that knowledge doesn't disappear. But now my presence, my persona, it's all centered around the virtual live space. So I would say there's a good chance that this can grow some legs and go far.
Yeah, I think it will, because I love seeing people doing it. I one thing I hate is when people say, I've heard there's a trend that. Yeah, okay, there is a trend doing that, but what happened? What is going on? Have you done it yourself? Have you tried it? No, I haven't tried it, but I've heard that someone else has tried it and it worked for them. Yeah, well, have you tried it? No. I want people to try it. And so if you're out in the world thinking, I've got my Zoom P4, I'm interviewing this cool chef in a diner in Pensacola, we're having fun, I got a free meal and I stayed the night, I'd listen to that because you're doing it. I'm a sort of an action guy. I want to do it. I don't want to read about it. I don't want to hear the trends in some funky magazine. I want to see people doing it. And I think people will resonate with that if you do. I think you'll get traction. I'm absolutely sure you will. You've just got to have the sort of courage and the sort of the means to do it. It's very exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not afraid to put myself out there. I have fallen on my face numerous times and just gotten back on my feet, and you brush it off, you learn something, and you move on. So if it becomes something, I'll be forever gracious and thankful. If it doesn't, then hey, remember when we gave this road trip thing a try? It was a great time, great memories. Here's what I learned from it. Like, there will still be content that'll come out of this regardless of what the outcome is.
Well, a good example is that Cheryl Lynn called in today. We did a podcast.
Dum dum dum.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to your to seeing your posting about on this trip. That's gonna be really cool. I can't wait to. I'll be looking out for it. It's gonna be neat.
I got to dig up the post that I did the last time, reaching out and start see if I can lean into that. Hey, remember when I did this?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Love that.
Here's version 2.0.
Right.
Sorry, guys. Look, what I'll do is that's probably my signal to get going. I'm going to play the 40s version again because I really liked that, and you missed it.
That was a nice version. Absolutely, I loved it.
Oh, I gotta hear it.
So what I did was I designed. I've done 26 versions of the song now, and my goal is to understand how Suno works. I don't particularly want to write songs. I want to understand the algorithm. I want to get behind it. I've done it. So the song, as you know, is called Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Remembered. But this is the 40s version. Have a listen to this. This is unbelievable. I'll finish it after this because I want to eat and my internet's starting to play up. But I'll play this and then I'll catch you on the other side. But this is a great way to end the show.
Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever. The live streaming tech is ready, the mic and studio are set. Is the audience here yet? They better be, it's a show they will never forget. Hearts are racing, this is the moment, the one we've been waiting for. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever. Is your personal brand fading? The choice is online events, social authority rising, engaging vibes. Followers keep moving, your network stands still. We're chasing awareness, we're closing the deal. The engagement is heating, fans call out your name. This is no longer a game. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever.
Here's the trumpet solo.
Events are the spark, audience the fuel you crave. They said it would never work, now you wanna go live again. You no longer fade, no longer hide. You're born to ignite, you're the energy burning bright. Be seen,
Be heard, be remembered.
online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on And the replay